good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. Welcome to Brooks's Space Corner, live chat 106, coming to you all the way from London town. Here in the UK, this is the last Saturday live chat we're going to do, in terms of scheduled live chats, until, I guess, after Christmas. However, on Tuesday, 1st of April, a couple of days away, this scheduled live chat is now going to revert back to the Tuesday evening live chats that we used to do from 8 p.m. here in the UK. So don't worry, the live chats aren't disappearing. We're just moving back to the slot that we used to do. And, well, what you're going to get also is, because not only is this moving back to the Tuesday, you will get an additional impromptu, in inverted commas, impromptu live chat when I'm out on Saturdays at my gigs. So after today, there will be live chats on Saturdays, but they'll be a bit more ad hoc, a little more flying by the seat of your pants, if you will, because I will be dictated to by my mobile internet coverage wherever I am in the UK, and also whether the venue we're at has Wi-Fi. So this is why these live chats are going to go back to the Tuesday evenings, because I can't guarantee through the summer months that I won't be driving during the hours that we tend to do these live chats on. And also, I don't know what coverage I'm going to have at the venues and the areas and locations where I'm going to be playing. Obviously, we're coming into festival season. So last year, there were very few impromptu live chats, because very often I'd look at my phone at a venue and go, great, got no reception, so couldn't do anything. So I'm very aware that after today, my diary starts getting very full on Saturdays as we sort of go into the spring and summer months. So that's why the live chats are moving back to the Tuesday. I was hoping we could keep them on the Saturdays, but when I started going through the diary, I'm going, can't do that Saturday, can't do that Saturday, can't do that. It was like, no, we need to go back to what we were doing before. So, as I say, today's the last one of the regular scheduled live chats on Saturday afternoons. So as of Tuesday, in 3 days' time, we're going to do another live chat in 3 days' time. So it'll be going live from 8 p.m. here in the UK. More of the same. I've got some ideas to chuck in, change it up a bit. But we will also do the Saturday impromptu live chats when it's feasible to do so. So, and I'm very aware, we're getting into the spring and summer. You guys have got things to do on Saturdays. The weather's lovely. What do you want to sit indoors and listen to a live chat for? Okay, you can watch the live chat after the event, and I'm very happy that you do so. But I can't command your attention on a Saturday afternoon when there's much nicer things to be doing with your life. So that's what we're going to do. So these will be going back to Tuesdays from Tuesday. So this is last Saturday. Dave Angel, good to see you. Welcome. Nice to know that the live stream is working. Actually, let me just check the stream health. Yep, everything's good. That's happening. That's all good. Fabulous. And that's working as well. Yep. Super. So you're very welcome here on Brooks's Bass Corner. If you've got any bass questions, bass gear, bass amps, bass effects, bass guitars, accessories, strings, gig bags. Maybe you've got some gear that's not behaving itself. Maybe something's not working properly. Maybe you're about to try and set up a bass for the first time. Maybe your bass needs some adjustments and you don't know where to start. If I can help, that's what I'm here for. If I don't know the answer to your question or comment, I'll open it up to the floor, and the fine people here who come in on the Brooks's Bass Corner live chats, maybe they'll know the answer instead. We are going to run for a couple of hours, probably through to about 5 o'clock. So it's just gone 2 p.m. here. We'll go through till 5. I'm a very lucky boy. I've picked up a last minute dep gig for this evening. Going to be doing one of the request shows in Greek Street, which is around the corner from Ronnie Scott's here in the centre of town. So if you're in town, maybe you're watching this now or watching it a little later after we've finished. If you're in the centre of town, you're thinking, what are we going to do this evening? Feel free to come and watch me and the guys. We're doing a request show at a place called Greek Street Live. funnily enough, in Greek Street, which is just round the corner from Ronnie Scott's, also round the corner from Tottenham Court Road Tube, Leicester Square Tube. So yeah, kind of just off Soho Square. It's a good, I was just going to say it's a good laugh. It's a good laugh listening to me play songs that the audience are requesting that I have absolutely no clue how certain songs go. But by hook or by crook, we get there. Steffi, good to see you. And the past couple of shows have been really, really good. We've had some slightly left field song choices, and yet we've managed to pull it off. Usually I have an idea. Song requests come in and I'll go, I know the song, but I don't know the chords or whatever. And the guy fronting it will call up his iPad and he'll have all the chords there, and he'll go, right, it's in the key of B, it's B, G, A, D. It's like, okay, right, fine, off we go. And I'll work it out, and we get there, and it's great. It actually turns out into a really good show. It's a lot of fun. It's good for me. It's good for the other guys in the band. Lots of ear listening. It's not so much chops, although that can come into it. It's more about making the band sound good, keeping people dancing. And it refreshes the brain. I've been playing songs while we've been doing this since November. A lot of songs I used to play, hadn't played in years. And yet people are requesting them, and suddenly you go, oh, actually, do you know what? That's a really great song. Need to put that into a set when I'm next to a covers band. So we're doing that tonight from 9 o'clock. I'll be there from about 8:15. We have potential that the very great, dare I say it, legendary Nathan East might be paying me a visit. I know he's in town today. He's been doing some promotion for the new signature Laney amp, signature Nathan East Laney amp, the Dig Beth. And I messaged him this morning and said, I've just seen your reel on Instagram. Are you in town today? He said, yeah, I'm in London for a couple of days. I said, okay. I said, well, bearing in mind we've known each other for about 11 years, and every time you're in London, you're way too busy, which is fine. I said, what are you doing this evening? He said, well, I haven't decided yet. I said, okay. I said, well, if you find that you got half an hour to spare, I'm playing in Greek Street around the corner from Ronnie Scott's. So if you want to come and see me and a bunch of fabulous musos doing a request show, I said, you don't have to stay all evening, but if you want to pop your head round the door and come and have a beer, it'd be great to see you. He said, I will contact you later and let you know what our itinerary is. So the offer has been made to Mr. Nathan East. Nathan, if you're watching, highly unlikely you're watching this, but if you are, I hope to see you later. Be good to catch up. I haven't seen you face to face since. Oh, now, hey, 2017. And the last time we spoke to each other via video would have been for the Yamaha advertorial that we did in Bass Player in 2020, just as we went in lockdown. So if you're watching, Nathan East, this is going out to you. I hope to see you later. I'll be there from 8:15. And we'll be going live from 9 o'clock through till midnight. It's a good show. Come on down. And the offer is there to everyone else. If you're in London today and you don't know what you're going to do this evening with yourselves, if you want to pop down to Greek Street live in Greek Street, around the corner from Ronnie Scott's, I will be there performing. I haven't even decided which bass I'm taking. And I was actually considering this earlier on while I was out walking the dogs, and I may well take, this is quite revolutionary, I may well take my Status Matrix, the Black Beast. It's got lighter gauge strings on it. It's got 35 to 95s on. I really want to chuck it into the mix. A couple of times I've used the Empathy in recent weeks. Gareth Harrison, good to see you. And I just thought, I wonder. So when I'm on stage doing the request show, I plug in via a TC Electronic. I think it's a 210 combo. It's like pumping out bass frequencies into my calves. But I'm finding some of the top end isn't quite there, and we're running on IEMs. So I was thinking, what bass have I got with lighter gauge strings? And I've got the Matrix. Haven't used it on a gig for ages, but I'm really tempted to take it out this evening. So when we finish this live chat, I'm going to pull that out of the rack, check the battery, check the strings. Strings should be fine, actually. And I may well take that out on the show tonight, see how it goes. It will be different, that's for sure. So if you've got any questions, fire away. It's a bit of an open-ended live chat today. There's no topic as such. It's a bit of a free-for-all. So as I say, this is the last Saturday one that we're going to be doing. But we will have the impromptu ad hoc live chats going forward. So next Saturday, I don't have a show. However, maybe we'll do an impromptu one from the workshop. How about that? Gareth, I'm taking my P-Bass and Jazz as a backup to my gig tonight. Good for you, sir. Good choice. Good choice. I tend not to take a backup on this show. I've kind of got out of the habit of taking double gig bags. I used to take them everywhere. You wouldn't find me at a gig without a double gig bag for the best part of 20 odd years. I just started to find them over heavy, and going on the tube can be a bit cumbersome with a double gig bag. I did it quite a lot, and in my younger days, of course, and I can't be doing with all the extra baggage, and on a Saturday night and people are full on the tube, and I've also got the case with the pedals, and it's just keep the baggage to a minimum. And we're only doing 3 40-minute sets, so I tend to take a bass that I know's got relatively fresh strings, and it'll be fine. I take a spare set just in case, of course, and a pair of snips. But experience and years of experience have taught me that if a string snaps mid-set, as long as you can limp along, get to the end of the set, you're fine. If you've got a double ball headless bass with you, well, you can change a string in less than 30 seconds. But on a regular bass, regular stringing, you're going to need a couple of minutes. Take the old string off, put the new string in, snip the excess off, wind it on, tune it in, stretch it up, and away you go. So, yeah. Gareth, got a Reunion Blues double bag. They are great. They are great. They're one of the few, and there's very few, gig bags that will accommodate a status, hark at me, an alembic with a crown headstock and a point at the end of the body. Those Reunion Blues bags are the bomb. They're getting harder to get. In fact, I don't even know if you can get the single ones anymore. I know they do a model called the RBX, but I'm not sure they're long enough. So that Reunion Blues bag you've got, is that the Continental? I think that's the one. It's literally about 50 inches in length that will accommodate an alembic. I haven't bought one because I've got a few double bags here. When I take my alembic out, generally it goes in a hard case. I do have a mono Vertigo, which will accommodate just an alembic, but they haven't been used on gigs for a while. So I haven't had to go down that road. Yeah, so I tend just to take one bass on this gig, and there's so little space on the stage. And actually in the venue, it's very cozy. Very cozy indeed. Very bijou. And having lots of gear doesn't make any sense. And literally, I get my bass out of the gig bag, and I've only just about got enough room for the gig bag and the empty effects case, which are to my left. And literally, it's like I've got a postage stamp of stage. I have a trumpet player just in front of me to my right. Drums are just behind me to my right. The main guy is to my right, although I could sort of grab him by the throat if I had to. And the guitarist is sort of behind and to his right. And then the DJ. And somehow, by hook or by crook, we all fit on that stage. It's a tight fit. You got the RBX dual bag. Okay, cool. Cool. I might come to you for some measurements advice internally. Get the old tape measure out and do a top to bottom, see what the maximum accommodation length is in that bag. Although I dread to think what a double gig bag with two alembics in is going to weigh. That's not going to be good for the old back or shoulders, that's for sure. That will be a little tricky, I think. And for I think it might be you, Gareth. You pointed me towards, now what is that company called? Hold on, just bear with me. I sent them an email last night about the straps for the Bootsy base. They are called CFG. What are they called? What's that company called? Cable Free Guitar, who do the zero gravity bass straps. I've dropped them a message to see if they can point me towards somewhere in the UK that either sells them or has a distributor for them, because I don't particularly want to buy a £45 strap and pay for the postage and packing and then find it doesn't do what I need it to do regarding the Bootsy base. So we will see if they come back to me. I'm waiting on a reply, and we will see how far we get with them. Hopefully they might be able to offer up a solution, and if it does what I need it to do, then fabulous. But we'll see. I've explained to them the situation, told them the other straps I've tried, and we'll see if they come back with some words of wisdom. In theory, it could help. In practice, I'm not totally convinced that their design is going to stop that thing heading towards the ground, but it might. So I've asked them if you can, if there's someone or somewhere in the UK I can try one, or get someone to send me one to test, and then I'll send it back and I'll buy it if it does the job, and I'll happily do some YouTube content promoting it. So let's fingers crossed, hope they come back and give me some pointers, because if I can get the Bootsy problem solved, I'll be very pleased indeed. Otherwise, it's back in the workshop and start getting the wheel weights on. Where have I put them? They're here, aren't they? Somewhere. Where are they, Michael? Oh, here we go. Strips of wheel weights. 1.5 kilos worth. I've got loads of them. Strips. I think there's about 15 strips of them here. I've got tons. I would love it if I didn't have to use these, but at the moment they may well still have to get used to get that bass doing what it needs to do. So there we are. So how's everyone's week? Anyone bought anything new? Anyone gigging? Anyone out this evening? Where you playing? Where you heading off to? I'm trying to think what my week has been. So I saw you last week after I'd just done my second show with Supersonic Queen. That was fab. Did the live chat, of course. Oh, then I was practicing for the Uncle Funk rehearsal on Sunday, doing Decades of Dance. So I'm very pleased I did Saturday night's practice. I ran that set 2.5 times. So the first set got 3 run-throughs and the second set got 2. I'm glad I ran it and I took the time to run it, because it showed that the original rehearsals and gig and the original prep that we did back in September and October totally paid off, because I literally remembered most of the bass lines without looking at my notes, which I was like, wow, okay. So it was another example similar to when I learned ABBA for the first time back in 1998. If you put that work in and you seriously go at it and memorize and commit that stuff to memory, if you play your cards right, it'll sit in there in your brain, and you haven't got to relearn note for note. I was really a bit concerned that that was going to need a lot more work last week, but it didn't. And we got to rehearsal Sunday morning, and it seemed like everyone else was in the same boat. I think we worked so hard on it back in September and October that it didn't feel like it was 5 months since we'd done the gig. And I think also we'd made the arrangements so fail-safe, and the medleys made total sense how they moved, and the arrangements, that it just all sort of happened, really. And we'd planned on a 6-hour rehearsal, and actually we ended up using about 2.5 hours, and we called it quits. We literally ran the whole show once, topped and tailed any little bits that needed sort of finesse and just quickly sort of going over. But we all looked at each other and said, we don't need to spend another 2 hours doing this. We don't. We could literally turn up on the day of the next gig, which is on the 12th, run for 45 minutes anything that anyone is concerned about or worried about. But generally, it was all good. And as long as everyone stays on top of what we ran at rehearsal and does their own practice at home, there's no reasons really to have any concerns about that, which we were all very, very happy about because it meant we all got our Sundays back. So that was good. So again, if you put the legwork in, don't try to cut corners and do your prep for any show, any band. If you do your work properly, you won't forget it. And a mixture of brain memory, muscle memory, finger independence, being familiar with the material, getting inside it, not doing like a quick remembrance job, you know, oh, I'll just literally have a listen to it and that'll be fun. No, you got to play it through. So I was very glad that I did the prep the night before, but I was in a good place with it because of all the work we'd done 5-6 months ago. So there we go. Gareth, is there space in the control cavity to hide them? What are we talking about? I'm guessing we're talking about the gig bag, are we? Remind me, what are you referring to? Is there space in the control cavity to hide them? The wheel weights. I'm trying to remember. Where is it? It's over there. Let me get it. Let me get it out of the bag. Can't remember what the panels are on the back. For some reason, I think everything goes via the front. It does. Right. Okay. So, regarding the Bootsy bass and the weights. So, there are no panels on the back. Apart from the battery compartment. So I'm not going to be putting weights in there. The other option possibly is weights under this control panel. So when I get this into the workshop, I'll take the panel off. I did it once before. And I will have a look. My concern though is these weights are attached via sticky strips. And I kept a load of these in the gig bag when I first got them and found that some of them came off. And what I don't want are weights, metallic, rattling around inside a control cavity with pots, pickups, controls, all of that. So we'll see. The other thing is, the only point really within that control cavity that would make any sense is, I'm trying not to hit my lampshade here, is probably there in front of the bridge and down here. Anything else won't make any sense. So my original theory is to gaffer tape. So not taking the strip, the sticky back off these strips, but actually line up 4 or 5 strips. I've got to, you realise you're working in opposite direction, Mike. And have like 5 layers of that and gaffer tape it super tight to the body without the front looking like there's loads of gaffer tape all over it. So basically the sides and the rear of these body points, dogs are off, the other half's coming through the front door. But I'll have them like super tight on there so they're not moving, not budging, not going anywhere. So if this strap can solve that problem, I'll be very, very happy because it means I don't have to do all that. But if not, it may be a combination of the weights and the strap. I just don't know. I don't know. There's got to be a way. Andy, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Coming from Australia. Well done, young man. Right, so I'm just going to put this back in its bag. So we're just getting to that stage of the year where the Bootsy bass really needs to start earning its living. So I need to get this kind of solved as quick as I can, really. So as I say, if I can get... Sorry, I'm talking on the mic, sorry. Yeah, So we're getting to the time of year where I really want to be using the Bootsy base as much as I possibly can. So I need to get it solved. I need to get this sort of up and running and working so that I can use it. Otherwise, it's going to have to go up for sale because I can't tolerate keeping a base like that. I can't use on anything else really. And it's fine to play sitting down, but I cannot play it standing up. It's too much. So we've got to get it sorted or it's going to go back on the market. Gaffer tape to your strap. You see, it still doesn't work though. It's, yeah, I've got it. There's got to be a workaround. We're going to get to the bottom of it one way or the other, I think. But if this strap can bypass any more of the grief, then I'll be buying one immediately. But like I say, it could well be a combination of that strap and the weights might just do it. I was actually considering last night whether I could use a strap over the strap button and then somehow via, I dread to think, string, bootlace, something like that, I could tie. It would have to be the other strap button that's on the lowest horn and tie that around my waist. But I'm still not convinced that the top of the base isn't going to just try to constantly tip. I just don't know. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum, that's for sure. I will get it solved one way or the other. I'm a man of many resources. We'll try and solve it one way or the other. But I'd rather it got solved sooner than later. Because I really want it out. Let me think. Next Uncle Funk show is... so it's not going to use that on Decades of Dance. It'll be the Disco Inferno show. Next one is 19th of April. So, yeah, kind of need it ready for that, I think. Although I may bypass taking it on that gig because I've seen the stage we're playing on. It's I think it's a private party, might be a birthday. I've seen the stage we're playing on. It's super tight. I'm not sure the Bootsy bass is the best instrument for me to take on that booking. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll work it out. Oh, the trials and tribulations of being a working bass player, I tell you. But there we are. So here we are. It's just coming up 2:30 here in the UK, here in London town. This is Live Chat 106 coming to you from Brooksy's Bass Corner here in London. Hope you're all safe and well. Hope life is treating you well. Hope your bass playing's going great. If you've got any questions, fire away. Let's have your comments. If you want to join in live, you can do so by video or just by audio if you wish. Email me. There's a ticker running along the bottom of the screen. Email me at brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll then send you an invite. You click on the invite link and then you are here live. I'm sure Mr. Millard will be gracing us with his presence later. I know he's at the gym at the moment. I thought he did a good job last week at the Nashville Guitar Show. There was some lovely gear on there. And I thought he did a really good job of taking us around, showing us everything. That was great. Teeth back in. Don't buy teeth from catalogues, I tell you. Not a good investment. I thought he did a great job. Ah, he's here already. How about that? Have you finished? Oh, I'll just bring you to stage, shall I? Right, let me get my headphones. Hold on, or I won't hear a word you say. And it'll all go to pot. Right, let's go around there. Yes, there we are. You're driving. Right, we'll bring Mr. Millard to screen, shall we?
Hello.
Let's tidy up a bit. There we go.
Yes.
You've been to the hairdressers. You've had your beard repinked.
No, I have hairdressers that live with me. They're called daughters.
Ah, okay. Saves you a few bob then.
Ollie says hello, I hear.
Yeah, they're barking because my other half is at the... Ah, realised my partner didn't take her keys out. Just bear with me a moment. That's good, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Great.
When in doubt, let the dogs bark.
Hold on, dogs.
Hello, everyone. We're driving a nice cloudy sky for evening. Isn't this fun? We're going to hear the stories of Ollie when he comes back. Bass plus dog.
There we are.
How about that?
Right.
Woof, woof, woof. Bark, 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 bark.
Hello.
Yes,
We'll do that again then. How are you? All right?
Ollie said cheerio, I see, eh?
Ah, yes,
Ah,
barking.
yes.
Well, they should both be asleep. They've had a good hour's walk this morning through the common and the woods, so there's no excuse
All right.
really.
Fair
How's
enough.
things?
Good. Well, this week has been a musical.
Oh, you've just turned into Metal Mickey. You sound like a game of Super Breakout. Ping pong, ping pong, ping.
Something like that,
Ye-
maybe.
That's better. Yeah.
Ping pong.
Right. Speak that sentence
There we go.
again. Thank you.
I said it's been a very musical week for me this week. How's that?
Right. Very
So
good.
starting last week, starting last Saturday with the guitar show was the beginning of all the adventures, right?
Right. And thank you very much for last weekend. You did a great job.
Oh, you're welcome. It's all good. You know, we need to share those lovely old pieces of wood. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
we don't have to purchase them. We can just look at them and either laugh or
Mm,
cry.
that's right. Yeah. And be happy that the money stays in our pockets.
That's right. We're not passing out a few quid here, a few quid there. That's not how this goes.
Mm, quite.
So yes, yep. So beyond that, it was a series of rehearsals, a couple of shows. That's why we went to the Ponce hairdresser for the
Yes.
touch-up show. Is
And a birthday, of course.
oh yes,
Happy
yes.
birthday.
Thank you so much. I'm just a wee bit more now.
That's it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
twice as handsome.
Well, I don't know about that. You know, I can't get.
I had the Swarmy from Bass Palace got in touch. I did message
Oh,
him,
good.
and he
Lovely.
replied back. So yeah, well, how about that? I mean, I remember looking at that website in like 99, 2000, back
Yep.
when we were still on modems,
Oh yeah.
and I would come home from gigs back in the days when you do gigs for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'd very often look at his website, and he had some great stuff in there. I love
Oh
the
yeah.
way his website used to be laid out. It was great.
Yep.
And yeah, because that
Oh,
I mean, a lot of his stuff was like the stuff that you would not see on eBay before eBay became the place to sell instruments secondhand, and you get stuff in there. I mean, I remember him having like 20 Aria SBs of every color, vintage, format, the lot. And then he'd have
yes,
like
and
10 Alembics would be there, and there'd be about 20 Spectres. And he had some great stuff.
right, and about 100
Halcyon
G&Ls
Days,
because
because
those are his favorite.
yeah, yeah. And again, you kind of, he would have all that stuff because at that point we hadn't moved on to broadband, so
Right.
you couldn't really. It was hard to use eBay effectively from home unless you had a super fast modem, and trying to do eBay and jump between auctions was, it was tricky. Whereas with his thing, it was all very small graphics, and it all literally the page would just download in one hit. It was like, oh great, I can just you just scroll up and down and read the text, and but his site was very good. So anyone doesn't know, the Bass Palace, it's still up there. It's not what it was. It's not the site it used to be, and he's an older chap, of course.
Right.
But yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that was fun. So, it's one of those moments where we have the opportunity. Why not take advantage of it?
Mm, mm.
So you know, it was a few few quid to get in. So do that and walk around to your heart's content. If you want to
Yeah.
get if you want to get sacked and get skinned, then you can buy something and you're all good. Just saying.
No, but thank you very much for doing that. It was good. It was
Oh,
good.
cheers.
It's still getting views. I know that video. I saw it this morning. There were people watching that video this morning. So very good.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a couple message me asking about who had this bass and that bass and whatnot. And
Mm,
if we caught the name of the shop or the seller, I just forward those infos along. That way, if
mm.
anybody had questions, they can go direct without having to worry about me jumping in.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Well, yeah. It's like that guy that was after the 68p bass in Candy Apple Red.
Right.
He, yeah. So I pointed him in the right direction once you sent me that information, and I said to him, "Happy shopping. You know, you got the money,
I played that
go
one.
for
There
it."
were in that booth that the guy's name was Mark Thompson. Bases Loaded is his. Um, I played two bases. It actually three thing there. I played that because I wanted to see what the ooh was about, and then
Mm,
I played Black 75, which actually amazing. Which I'm not a fan of mid to late 70s P. Most of them you toss over the side and you. But the, it was really amazing with very kind of narrow
mm.
and of course have a good attitude
Of, of course.
and enough. I don't
Although he
know.
take it, what happened to the humbucker cover?
He took it
Taking
off,
the cover off. All right.
cover off, yeah. And oddly enough, I think we had just gotten around to when I jumped off with us doing this, and I went back down there. Folks walking around with cameras saying, "Oh, we're from the facility. Go ahead and play. We're taking pictures."
Ah,
So we had a good. Me and that guy Mark had a good laugh because it's like, well, thanks for playing in my booth. You're playing the only bass in the booth that's not for sale. So I'm like, that's just I wanted to have a
yeah.
go and because I had one of those. I had a limited one and it lives in Australia now with a very nice gal, and I worked out all kinds of protection to her and all that. But she loves it. It's great.
Excellent
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah,
Westfort, I can see you there. Welcome. Gareth Harrison, you have two types of bass player: those who say the song is in the key of G and those who say the song is in the key of fret 3. Yes, I meet many a musician like that. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
they're still out there.
Well, it's even here because like okay, so we're not playing. We're going to play in the key of G, but it's 5, and I need you to play this minor here, and then do the 1 here and the here.
That's it.
That
Yeah, put that finger there.
that would be the national.
That'll be it. That'll be it.
Yes, which country, but not for any to do all of this.
So are you playing this weekend?
Actually,
Church
this week,
tomorrow?
breather.
Ah, give the fingers a
I
rest. Good for you.
actually did a gig last night,
Okay.
so that was the kind
With
of the tale of the week.
nice, nice, nice. Good
Yeah,
crowd.
packed.
Ah, that's what you want. A
Yep.
packed
It is.
Friday is always a good thing. It's good for the
Yep.
soul.
Yep.
Excellent. So what you got coming up? What's on the horizon as we go into April? Things start livening up for me. How's it for you?
So April right now is because I've got a few things on the book. My Sundays, of course, will be consistent, but other things happening. I've already lined up. I've got 4 tracks. I've got cut for different people across all over the place, actually.
Hmm.
Different styles this time. So the JDs, the JD will be coming out because I for heavy stuff. But when it comes to requires just a wee bit more finesse sound wise, bust out the JDs.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're going to see how that plays out. But so far, a reggae tune, 2 kind of rock pop tunes, and one I don't know how to catch. So we'll
Okay.
see.
Okay. How you getting on with your remix shorts? So for those who aren't aware, Jamie obviously has his own YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description. And I educated him this week on the joy of remixing your old content. There's a facility as a creator that you can go in, look at a video that you've already done, and create shorts, multiple shorts from that original video. He had no idea of this. And what it does is it gives your channel a bit of it's almost like a bit of supercharging. So basically the content is something that's already been there, but it's now being shown to the people that like the shorts format rather than the long form format. And I've kind of used it for about 3 years. It's worked some wonders for me. It's created some of the most watched content on the channel. But we have different types of viewers here on YouTube. Some who don't like shorts, some don't like long form. Some people will watch all of it, and some will only come here on the live chat. So you've kind of got to mix it up a bit. So how are you doing with those? Are the figures good?
Yeah. People are. I've had some very
Your sounds keeps dropping out.
better now.
Much better.
Okay. I've had some very interesting comments on the shorts that range from the guitar itself to trying to pick out an artist that they think I'm playing like in 15 seconds, which has been really kind of funny because there's some uh, suggestions that I would never have thought of, especially with what I was doing, but it reminded someone of an artist.
Okay.
So it's been it's been something. But as far as people coming in and watching, I'm averaging probably 700 per.
There you go. The 700 views you didn't have.
Right, which is lovely.
On each one. But the thing I found once I sort of put my foot into the shorts world is the reactions and the responses and the comments are totally different from the people who watch the long form. It's
Right.
like the shorts consumer or the shorts connoisseur has a totally different perspective on what the channel should be and how things are and what have you. It's like the attention span of a lettuce. And yeah, it's literally they'll watch 3 seconds and swipe, 3 seconds and swipe. It's like you don't even know what the video you literally, and this is where once you start doing remixes, you then realize actually when I go now to create shorts from scratch, I have to think about every single second. And you
Right.
can't are you off? Are you bailing?
No. What I'm doing is I'm actually getting out of the shiny metal box because
Very good.
it's an overcast day, but it's 73 degrees out. Yeah,
Fair enough. Right.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So when you come to create shorts from scratch, you then have to consider every single second because you can just lose them in a second.
Right.
And whereas someone who sits and watches long form will generally be sitting there for several minutes. Maybe if you're lucky, they'll watch half. They might watch the whole thing. It's a different viewing experience. But for shorts viewers, they will literally. This is what I was saying about if you're going to go for under 32 seconds, you've got to get 100% for the algorithm to pick it up and really promote it. Once you go over 32 seconds, you only need 80% view. But it's those seconds between 15 and 32 that can make all the difference. It's a crazy thing.
Well, the first one I actually did was the fretless JD, and that one so far has had the most views, which was kind of interesting actually, considering how many jokes we make about those. Anyway,
yeah.
First one out.
That's it. Actually, one of the first ones I did as a remix was a Trace Elliott Elf amp demo, and that flew. I think I did over 1,000 views in about 2 hours, and then went dormant. It's had literally no views since. It did couple of thousand, bang, stop.
Yep.
It's like someone just put the handbrake on. And then other things like this week has been, anyone that's followed the channel, this week has been all about shorts for me. I've been producing fresh shorts content, averaging 3 or 4 a day. And the first couple did pretty good numbers, and they sort of did well over 24 hours. The last 2 have gone very slow. But what happened with the one that went up on Thursday suddenly went into overdrive this morning. So I'm assuming yesterday's one is going to suddenly happen sort of overnight tonight, but we'll see. Gareth, I saw your message there. Andy, hi. Hey guys, got a split. It's 2 a.m. down here. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Andy. Feel free to watch these after the event. They're all there for your viewing pleasure. Gareth, seeing reports GAC in Brighton has gone under. Yep, that's been going on all week. Originally the message at the shop said it was being closed for 7 days maintenance work. What What you?
Somebody.
What are you?
Oh,
Someone's what? Oh, shooting.
yep.
Oh, right.
Yep.
What are
It's
they
not towards.
shooting?
I won't be ducking, so it's not this way. But we have
Ah,
to fire them off over here if we've got them. So
very good.
yes,
Very good.
if I see
Yes,
that,
Gakim. Sorry, go on.
see there it is.
Ah,
Yeah.
are they
So if I see,
hunting or is it just shooting for a lark?
probably hard to say.
Ah, it's a nice neighbourhood you live in.
What's ironic about that is I think just about everybody in the neighborhood actually has.
Ah,
So if we don't have any trouble,
okay.
just say the same.
Mm, mm-mm.
So, okay.
But yes, reports of GAC. So that we're not talking about cocaine people. We're talking about guitar, amps, and keyboard. It's a shop in Brighton. Very good shop. I bought many a pedal and accessory from there. There were reports earlier in the week that it was shutting for a week for maintenance work. It has since come to light and is fairly widespread across the net that basically the store and the brand is up for sale. So there's a lot of stock tied into that place. Well, apparently there's quite a lot of owings. So
Uh
stock has been bought and not sold. So it's whether I think there was I think it was open up until 5 p.m. yesterday for a new buyer. And I guess now it goes into administration. So we'll see what happens. Maybe someone will buy up the online business and just shut the bricks and mortar part. It's a sad state of affairs. It's the way it's going, unfortunately.
Right.
Yet another music store's bitten the dust. There aren't that many left
Mm-hmm.
now. It used to be you went into London for the day, you could go to probably 20 stores and look at bases. Not now. You've probably got one in the centre of London. I'm talking 1, 2, 3. You've probably got about 5 or 6. There's not a lot left, sadly. It's all gone online. We knew this would happen eventually, I guess.
Yes.
We've still got likes of PMT. We've still got Guitar. There's still the gallery here in London. A few things around Denmark Street, but, nothing like it was 15, 20 years ago. I can remember going into town to buy a bass when I just joined the Green Day tribute. And my fail-safe was I could order a Mike Dirnt Fender from Thomann if it came to it. I did
Mm-hmm.
all the rounds, couldn't find one in a store at the time. This was 2005. I thought, well, I'll just buy Precision. Couldn't find one I liked. Ended up ordering the one from Thomann. Couldn't do that now. There would be nowhere in London that would be able to guarantee you something that's just come out. You've got no guarantees. It's everything is online. It really is. Oh, the dogs are off again. Lord knows what they're shouting at. It must be a delivery.
Could be.
But yeah, very, very sad.
We've got a few over here, but they're also diminished. I think what's worse is that the places to play, the venues are diminished.
That's the
That,
bigger thing.
that's troubling because you know what? To your point, we can always go online and purchase something, but you can't
Mm-hmm.
go on and play a gig and expect something to happen in a live environment.
Yeah.
So, as much as we'd like to have all the shops and everything continue, I would rather have the venues stay open and go let people go have a pint and listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more important even.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. It's. I don't know where this is sort of going at the moment. It's odd for me looking at it. It's the business I work in, um, and I'm fortunate in what I do. But I made a conscious effort after we came out of COVID that I didn't want to do a lot of the pub and club work. I didn't mind doing it now and again, but I didn't want it to be such a large part of what I did. And moving into doing the YouTube channel meant I wasn't then reliant on it. Although it's taken me 4.5 years to get to the point that the channel's doing well, it's bringing money in, it's doing okay. But I look
Yep.
every day when I'm checking my Facebook feed, very quick. I tend not to spend a lot of time on Facebook. And every day I see, because I'm in the various groups for, live venues in London, bands in London, in the UK, deck musicians, all that. The amount of bands and performers complaining and it doesn't seem to be such a London thing. It tends to be elsewhere in the country, but there is a definite thing that venues find it acceptable double booking bands, which in my whole career I think has only happened to me 2, maybe 3 times. It seems to be on a weekly basis. Venues are doing this double booking or cancelling on the day, literally a couple of hours. And the performers have checked in the lead up, like a month before, 2 weeks before, a week before, sent promotional posters, checked that the booking's fine. Yeah. On the day, phone call. Sorry, we're not going to have enough people in tonight. We can't afford to have you. Sorry, you're cancelled. And it's just a dreadful way to be, especially if you're a performer and you rely on this income. This is your income. I look back and I think I had it easy, really. I got away with not being on the receiving end of too many cancellations. There were occasional cancellations, and my old covers band used to work for a guy here in London in the southeast, and he would cancel you at the drop of a hat if he thought he could earn an extra £5 by putting another band in. And he would cancel you. In fact, there were occasions where we were on our way to the gig and you were 10 minutes away and it was 8:30 and you've probably spent 2 hours getting across London to get to the venue, get the phone call. Sorry, lad, you cancelled. Well, we can't be. We're on the way to the pub. How are we cancelled? Oh, they've decided they want a different band tonight. And they didn't know that days ago, weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I look back and I think out of all the times that happened, or the few times that happened, and how many gigs I actually did, I wasn't on the receiving end of it too many times. Now it seems to be literally a daily occurrence. And it doesn't inspire confidence in the industry, because if you're taking gigs with venues and you know in the back of your head they're probably going to cancel these, so why am I taking them? You could be turning work away that's going to come in from other sources, and then you're going to lose out. So
We do
Gareth, go on, say again.
we do things a lot by contract. So if you're going downtown, let's say we go to downtown, they set a deal with a band, and I personally make them sign a contract. That way, if they back out of it, guess you're still responsible for paying the dog.
Well, the problem here in the UK, certainly in London, is that if I look back on when I was doing it, so from 99 up until COVID, so a good 21, 22 years, a lot of venues, if you gave them a contract, they wouldn't sign it.
Right.
So unless you're going through an agent on some gigs, and a lot of gigs we used to do were just off our own back. Right. You'd build a relationship with the owner of the bar or the manager, and you would just deal with them. If you were dealing with agents, then they may have contracts,
yep,
or they may not. And sometimes an agent can have a contract, the venue will cancel the gig, but the agent will still take his commission, but there's nothing as a safety blanket for you. Right. So when we were doing the pubs and clubs, and I would say to my band, we need to introduce contracts here. And they go, there is no point. If we do that, the venue just won't book us, because they don't want the hassle and the grief. Thankfully, a lot of the places we played would do block bookings. So it might be 3 months, might be 6 months, might be 12 months.
Yep.
And generally, if they knew they weren't going to use you after a certain point, they would let you get to the end of your run. And then when you came to rebook, they'll say, sorry, we're not going to book you. And okay, well, fair enough. You'd find out why, but there would be that. But if you went to them with contracts, and I know bands that used to try this, and they'll say, how do you gig at such and such a venue? And go, well, we just deal. Oh, right. Okay. Well, and then they say, well, we went to them with a contract and they turned us away. I said, well, that's why they turned you away, because they don't want to be tied to a contract. They want flexibility to do what they want. Yes, it's crap for the performer, but it's the venue. It's the venue's rules. It's like people who complain about how much YouTube makes off their advertising money. It's YouTube's rules. If you don't want to play the game, don't be on it. You can sit there and complain about it. It's not going to change. So you either agree to play by those set of rules or you don't. Gareth
Right.
Harrison, thankfully I'm a weekend warrior and I have a full-time job, but seeing it on a regular basis in Manchester and the Northwest, I'm guessing that's where a lot of these posts on Facebook are coming from. It's sort of north of Midlands, so it's the provincial pubs and clubs, and I know they're all under strain. People aren't going out, people aren't spending the money. You know, here in London it's almost £7 a pint. Some places it already is. Why would you want to go out and spend all your money, what little you've got left after you've paid your bills and everything else, and it's costing you that when you can just buy a whole load of it from the supermarket and sit at home, watch the telly? You haven't got to deal with idiots, fights, people being obnoxious, you know, all of that. And that's what's killing it. That is what's killing it. People used to say it was the smoking ban that killed it. It wasn't. It was the first recession in 2008, 2009 that kind of did for it, because when that happened, and what happened was we were losing over 15 venues a day at that point. They couldn't carry on, and without people coming through the door and people not having any money, those places just shut. They just shut, and that's what lost loads of the venues. So what you have now, where are we? 17 years on. As you said, God, I feel so old. 17 years since that happened. What you've got now is fewer and fewer venues, but more and more bands. And you've got the music colleges chucking out more and more musicians every 6 months, 12 months, for an industry that, unless you're in function bands, theatre work, and that's a closed shop, or you're setting up your own covers thing and you're totally going for it, you don't have those venues to play. So how are you going to make a living doing it?
Right. Hey, do me a favor. Put me on mute. I'm going to jump into the studio and get away from the shotgun over here.
Yeah, great.
So pop me down
for a
moment. I'll come right back.
No worries. I'll mute you. There we go. Who knows what's happening over there? I haven't got a clue. Doesn't sound particularly great, though, does it? Wowzers. So anyone who's just dropped in and thought, what are those two angry old men talking about? We're not angry, just discussing the state of being in a band, live performance here in the UK. It's definitely changed. I mean, this is something we've talked about here on the live chats on many occasions. I've started talking about it in some of the videos here on the channel as well. Is that, and I can talk from a point of experience because this is 30 years this year. In fact, where are we? 2.5 months. It will be exactly 30 years since I turned professional doing this. And the whole gig scene here in London, in the southeast of the UK, is completely flipped on its head to what it was 30 years ago. Back then, if you were diligent, okay, we didn't have social media. He's back. I'll bring him back. If you didn't have social media, well, there wasn't social media, but if you were diligent enough to be involved in several bands doing lots of things, you could be gigging easily 5, 6, 7 times a week, maybe even 2 gigs a day at weekends.
Right.
Now, I really think that's a hard thing to do. I know some musicians who do it. I know a few horn players who have their fingers in many pies and get lots of depth work and their regular work. And if I was a bit more diligent than I am at the moment, I could probably do it. But I'm trying to spread my time as much equally between gigging and doing the YouTube channel, because I see the YouTube channel as something for me going forward as I get older, where I know that gigs are naturally going to drop off and my work rate live is going to diminish. My YouTube rate will go up. But I'm trying at the moment to do both rather than just do gigs and let the YouTube channel suffer. But if I wanted to rely on that as a regular income, doing pubs, clubs, you know, your regular bread and butter work, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it here in London. You might be able to do it in different areas of the country, maybe Midlands upwards, but I just don't know enough venues in London that are still having live music. And there's a lot of factors to take in here. You've got the sound limits, you've got the sound limiters within the venues, you've got the sound limits that the local councils are putting in place to keep noise levels down. You've got lots of venues where they are now renting out the buildings above the venue, and you've got people then moving in to a flat above a pub and then complaining about the noise. I mean, it beggars belief. You knew the pub's been there 100 years. And what do you think happens in the pub? You're going to live above it, but you're going to get it shut down because you don't like the noise. I mean, it's crazy. So you've got all of that going on, but a lot of places are just being sold up for the property, you know, and then they're going to become houses or flats or hotels. The old Walkabout in Shepherd's Bush, huge venue, used to be a cinema, then became a club, then became the Walkabout, is now, I think, a hotel. Crazy stuff. Now, in there, in the Walkabout in Shepherd's Bush, we used to have close to about 1,200 people every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you'd have 4, sometimes up to 8 bands in there. Sometimes even more, like on an Aussie day, like National Australia Day or Anzac Day and all that sort of thing. They'll have 5 or 6 bands in. So you can imagine the amount of work that was generated through that place. And it doesn't exist. In fact, the whole chain is virtually gone. I think there's only a few left. There's one in Watford. They stopped having bands years ago. Can't even remember the last time I played Watford. Walkabout, 2012, maybe.
Long time.
We had loads of them in London. They were all dotted around. Some of them didn't have bands. They'd have duos or solos. There was one in Covent Garden. There was one down at Temple we used to play. We used to do Croydon. We did Reading, Portsmouth, Southampton, Birmingham. It wasn't one in Oxford. There were just loads of them. And they were just like, it was literally a guaranteed great gig, pretty much. Good crowd, totally up for it. You know, and it was like, wow, you know, you do a couple of those a month. It's great. Along with all the other gigs, it was like a gig soup, like a gig broth. And I could look at my diary. I could pull one out. Let's just do it. I keep saying this. I'll just do it.
Just do it.
Pull out a diary. Let's do it. Let's pull out. Here we go. 2005. My old diary. Literally, there you go. Pages and pages and pages of gigs. So that was December. But that's a good month as an example. So in the month of December in 2005, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 gigs in the month of December in 2005, and I did New Year's Day, and I moved house.
There you go.
So if I go through that list of gigs, what we'll do is I'll take it back. So 20 years ago, I'll go to this month, 20 years ago, right? So in December 2005, I did Oxford O'Neill's. I did the Spinning Wheel in Northfields. I did the Glen, which was in Edgware. I did a private Christmas function in Cheltenham. I did High Wycombe O'Neill's. We did a function in Temple, Middle Temple. We did a function in Kensington. Then did a private Christmas party in Market Harborough. Did a duo at the Corrib Rest, which was in Queen's Park. Oxford O'Neill's again. Duo in Welling at a bar called O'Neill's, but it wasn't part of the chain. Did a wedding event in Harrogate. Did 3-piece gig at the Cladder Ring in Hendon. What the hell is that? Christmas function in Baker Street. Went to see Duran Duran on the 21st at Earl's Court. Duo at the Spinning Wheel in Northfields on the 22nd. Did an ABBA tribute in Spalding on the 23rd. Did the Redback in Acton on Christmas Eve. Moved house that day. Had Christmas Day, Boxing Day off. A wedding in Brighton. Redback in Acton. Had a 3-piece at the Crown in Cricklewood. New Year's Eve was at Mallory Court in Warwick, and then New Year's Day was at Watford Walkabout. That was and that was every month would be like that, just
Mm-hmm.
constant. So let's go back through the diary. So this week in March 2005. Oh, that was quite a good week, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, very nice. Right. On the 24th, I did my 3-piece covers band at Bromley O'Neill's. We then had the same band at Shepherd's Bush Walkabout, as I was just saying, on the Friday. We did Croydon Walkabout on the Saturday, and we did Watford Walkabout on the Sunday. So we did 3 walkabouts in a week. And then the following week, which was March going into April, I think that was the week yes, it is. It's the week that I tore all the nerves in my lower back, lifting a tech combo and putting it back in a box. And I put it in and it sat on the polystyrene wrong. As I lifted it up to reseat it, I felt all the nerves in my back tear.
Ouch.
So that was this week. And then I had 4 gigs to do, which would have been the Red Back on the Thursday, the Spinning Wheel in Northfields on the Friday, had a wedding in Basingstoke on the Saturday, and the Claddagh Ring on the Sunday.
So you did the red.
Happy days. Say again?
You did the red back with a sore back.
Oh, did I? I remember crying. I sat in my car crying because the pain was so bad, and I had to go to I couldn't walk, and I had to go to the supermarket to get painkillers, ibuprofen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how the hell am I going to do the gig? I actually drunk about 4 cans of Red Bull, which is not advisable. And I managed to get through the gig, but I remember going to bed that night and I couldn't sleep. And I was in tears because I just couldn't move. The pain was incredible. Knowing I still had 3 gigs to do that weekend. We didn't generally use DEPs in my band.
Mm-hmm.
And all the gigs had long carries from the car to the stage with gear. And I literally had to ask my bandmates to carry my gear. I hated doing it. But there we are. So that month, March 2005, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 gigs in a month. I haven't done 16 gigs this year yet. I don't think. Let's check my diary. That's how times have changed. And yet you'd think, if I'd looked 20 years ago and think, oh, well, in 20 years' time, I'll have this amount of contacts, I'll have even more work. It hasn't worked like that, really. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Today's my 14th gig of the year. And that's taken me nearly 3 months to do 14. Yet back then I did 16 in a month.
Yep.
Times have changed, my man. Times have changed.
Well, I can't think. I don't have it all set up on mine to figure out how many I've done. But if you figure probably every Sunday scratch 2 or 3 starting at the beginning of the year. And then you add in the metal band gigs, the country gigs, and then all the session stuff. I've probably got a good 50 going.
Yeah.
Just because that
going on that, I used to do between about 175 and 200 a year.
Yep.
From 2000 up until 2018, which is a pretty good run. It's a pretty good run. Yeah. But things have changed, and you have to cut your cloth accordingly, which is why I jumped onto the YouTube thing, and I'm looking at it going, well, I'm getting older. There's only one way this is going, as I see it at the moment. I could join something and suddenly that's really, really busy. But from what I'm seeing, the way the industry is being impacted by lots of things, I need to have another income source to cover up what I'm losing doing gigging. So that's where I thought, well, if I can turn the YouTube thing into something that works for me, then that uses up my time when I'm at home and the gigs are still there. So and that's kind of where we are. Gareth Harrison, I do a regular open mic on a Thursday. and the owner has been having issues with noise complaints. We have even seen this particular neighbour hanging out the window with microphones recording the noise. This is becoming very common. This is the problem. You're getting people moving into areas and properties that are within distance of pubs, clubs, places that have live music. And they know they can make complaints to the council because they don't like it and get it all stopped and shut down. Or they can have the license revoked, or
Mm-hmm.
they can have their entertainment license revoked so they can't have live music. This is the problem. This is the problem. And I've started to see more and more of this, obviously, with function venues. I mean, they were going down this route 15 years ago, from about 2010 onwards, where they would want you to have no backline, electronic drums, plug into their system, they're in control of the volume. But then you have situations, or if they've got a limiter there that shuts off the power, and you are allowed to use your gear, and I've heard this one a million times as well, and the client will come up to you in floods of tears going, this isn't the band I saw, this isn't the band I booked, why aren't you playing like you played at the venue I came to see you at? Because we can't play at the volume. You know, we literally can't even hit the snare drum without it taking the power out. The problem is the venue has missold you what they can allow. You've paid the deposit, and once you've paid the deposit, there's no going back. If you had told us about the limitations on this venue before you booked it, we would have advised you to find somewhere else
Right.
that would allow us to play as a live band. Too many places in this country have been allowed to say they can have live music. Yes, it's live music on their terms with like a 60 dB limiter. It's crazy. And when I've had those clients in front of me in floods of tears, had you told me and I'd have gone and checked the venue, I would have told you, don't book your wedding here, but you didn't ask. We're just a supplier that you pull on board after you've hired the venue and you've got your food and you've got the flowers and you've got the last thing you do is book the band. And then you're asking us to come into this place. The guy is telling you it's got a 90 dB limit, but it hasn't. It's like 60 or 75. And there's no
One
way around it.
one
Now,
snare.
the daft thing is, then the venue will, what they'll do is they'll play a load of pre-recorded music that's really, really loud. And they go, well, the pre-recorded music is all right. Yes, because it's all compressed. It all fits linear. It's all like, it's like that. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it looks like. Live music looks like this. And that's what happens. Peaks and troughs,
Yep.
transients. That's what's making the limiter go off. And you try and explain it to them, they don't get it.
No.
But those venues, there was, in fact, there were several Facebook groups set up by musicians to highlight the venues that had these problems. And the problems was the venues fought back. They claimed it was libelous. Well, it's not libelous, it's fact, you know. But anyway, the courts went with them and they started getting lawyers involved, and those Facebook pages got taken down, sadly.
Yeah.
We were trying to create a list of venues that basically were pulling the wool over clients' eyes. So they would tell them you can have live music, you can have bands, and really they should never have been allowed to have live music there. And I did one in Croydon, I think it was called Oaks Farm in it was New Year's Eve 2002 going 2003, and it was a wedding. And we turned up, we knew there was a sound limiter there, we thought everything would be fine. We were setting up, and literally just tapping your foot on the floor was sending this limiter. And we were like, well, where do we go with that then?
Right.
So if that's just acoustically, and then the woman that worked there had stiletto heels on. She was walking across this stone floor, and you go cluck, 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 and you can see the limiter going bang, 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 and we were like, you're not going to get any live music here. So we got the drummer to set up, played a bass drum, that set it off, hit the snare, that set it off. I said to him, hit your hi-hat. So you and the thing was going off the scale. And I said, lads, we need to have a chat with the bride because this is not going to work. And we've been booked through an agent who we did lots of work for. I said, someone's got to mention this to her because she's going to come out here thinking everyone's going to have a great time and it's going to be fab. And you're not even going to hear us. I said, actually, do you know what? I'm on less than 0.5 out of 10 on my amp. The next setting is off. And that thing's going nuts. So once we all strike up, what do you think's going to happen? So we did a quick sound check and literally within 3 seconds, the electric had gone off. I said, look, we've got a really major problem here. I said, play some pre-recorded music. And we got to a fairly good level with that. I said, look, who wants to take control of this and go and speak to her and say, this is the situation. We cannot play. You've either got to say to the venue, they've got to turn that off, or we route the power from another socket that isn't controlled by that, or you're just going to have pre-recorded DJ music all night, which I think is the best option. I think there's no point. The venue isn't going to give in. And she wouldn't have it. No, she said, no, I want the band to play. We said, okay, we're telling you what is going to happen. She clearly didn't understand what was going to happen. And we said, okay. I said, are you not prepared to go and ask the venue? She said, no, it's all tied in. All their sockets in that room are all tied. I said, well, we can run a very long extension lead from another room. No. So it got round to them coming on for their first dance. We got literally like 2 bars in and it all went. And then the crowd are all there clapping and that was sent. It was like, this is just a complete shambles. So my New Year's Eve on 2002, I mimed for about an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't play a note that anyone could hear. And the bizarrest thing, so there was literally a bit of guitar, like with no bottom end, no mids, just twangy Strat guitar, a vocal, and the drummer was tapping his foot on the floor. I didn't play a note, and we got the most amazing feedback in the sheet to the agent. Band were amazing, off the charts. What a performance! And I felt like, yeah, what a performance. I wish I'd recorded it. You wouldn't have believed it.
No.
It was terrible, absolutely terrible. And yeah, I got 500 quid for the privilege.
We don't have that here because a lot of the venues are set up in either shopping areas or they're set up separate. I'll give you an example. There's a place here called the East Side Bowl. And they have a venue, a restaurant, a billiards room, and a bowling alley, all in this one big place. And what they did is they took an old department store and they chopped it all up and made this whole thing. They've got lots of parts, but it's a standalone and there's nothing around it except a cemetery. I don't think anybody's going to complain at that point. But, you know, but I mean, there's a lot that goes on out there because you have a standalone venue that there's no residential housing, there's no flats, there's no apartments, there's no nothing. So you can just turn it up and go. And the building is quite large, so you can't miss. And they get a chance, they jump in there, and by the time everybody's had a pint or two, nobody cares anyway how loud it is. Just saying. If they're all out there doing this, they don't really care, you know. But that's what's happening around here, and it's all kind of escaping to a point. It's escaping the downtown area with the exception of the celebrity-owned places. Excuse me. That, you know, they've put their, you know, they've made a career and now they have a bar or they have a club or whatever you want to.
That's their pulling power.
Right, right. So they can do that because nobody lives right there up on top of that. Yeah. And, you know, they design them specifically. And everybody at this point, with a few exceptions, are running in-ear monitors. So they can control it. They put the drums in a box. And the drummer can sit there and thrash away and do all that they're going to do. And it's fine. Nobody gets excited. So, and Gareth is saying that not many places like that in the UK, of course, because you put a flat right above. You've got a flat right above the venue. I mean, again, to your point, because you mentioned it a few minutes ago, if you know that you're going over a pub, you know what's going to happen. Don't be that person, because all you're doing is you're ruining the experience for not only the musicians, but all the ones who patronize the pub. For all the ones who go in and have a pint and a mince pie, they want to hear music, you know.
The problem is you've got like every government says, oh, you know, we're very strong on the arts and we want to promote this and we want to promote that. But they're the ones that give the local councils the powers to shut these venues down.
Right.
And then err on the side of the resident who wants it all shut down. It's like the story, and it's true. Bryan Adams bought a pub, closed it down because he didn't like the noise that was coming from it. He bought, was it him or was it Darrell Hall? No, it was Bryan Adams. He bought a property, hated the din coming from the pub next door, so bought the pub and shut it down.
That's amazing.
From Bryan Adams.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you know, I mean, in some ways, I don't think that would be competition for Bryan Adams because he's going to go play, you know, Wembley, or he's going to go play O2 or what have you. But that doesn't make
it. Didn't like the noise. Just didn't like the noise.
Then why did you purchase?
He knew that pub was there when he bought the house. So that was a while ago. It was probably about 20 years ago. Maybe might have been a little bit more. But crazy times, man. Crazy times.
Crazy times.
Oh, there's some new comments there. Hold on. Westford, I had the same problem one time. It was horrible. Exactly. Gareth, happened with night and day in Manchester. Manchester seems to have a real problem with this. And I get it because it has expanded and been gentrified over the last 30 years or so, but seem to be losing a lot of venues up that way. I don't know what the solution to it is. You know, it's almost like, and I remember this, I think I might have said it on last week's live chat or the one before, where I remember a thing in the late 90s and early 2000s where we would do gigs and you get the younger brigade would come up and go, oh, wow, a live band. It's amazing. And it's like, yeah. And when it first happened, I was like, and what are you saying? And what it was the younger generation underneath me, age-wise, had grown up with dance music, club music. They'd fallen out of the thing that had happened for generations before them, which was at the weekends you would go to a pub or a bar and you'd listen to live music and you get trolleyed and do it again the night after. They were the first generation that didn't do that. They went out and got trolleyed in clubs with dance music, not with live bands. And they had no sense. And at that time, I guess it was after Britpop had happened. So that kind of reignited the going and seeing a live band thing. And then it kind of all died off again. And if you look at the charts from around that time, a lot of it was boy and girl bands. You know, there was no musicians in the band. And lots of sort of faceless dance music and pop music. So they didn't really get the whole going out weekends, going to see a live band. And I can remember probably around about sort of mid 2000, 2004, 5, 6. And yeah, you get these kids and they'd be like 20-year-olds. So I was 32, 33. With this look of complete amazement that they'd seen a live band and really enjoyed what it entailed. I remember thinking, well, that's really weird, but I came from that generation before where that was what you did. That's kind of, you know, and then when you go out and do weddings and stuff and you see the younger kids and they're like, oh, I never knew seeing a live band could be so much fun. I didn't get the whole singing along thing. And it's like, well, that's the joy of it. That's what that's what you kind of see and hear and get involved with. Gareth Harrison was tempted to try and create a noiseless gig, similar to noiseless DJs, where everyone uses headphones, but with full bands. Not sure on the logistics of it all. I think some people were toyed with it, and actually, kind of what I do tonight would be that if the drummer was on electronic kit. So basically tonight we're all on in-ears. I do have a little bass amp behind me, but if I didn't, it wouldn't matter.
Right.
Keyboard goes straight into the desk. Guitarist is using cab emulators and stuff, so he's going in the desk. You'd hear the trumpet. Sod the trumpet. And I could do without the amp. So it would be the same thing. There are bands doing that, Gareth, I think. When you say use headphones, they're just using IEMs. They're using in-ears rather than over the head thing. But it's a weird thing. I have to say, I'm not entirely confident. I'm not entirely comfortable with it sometimes, which is why I'm glad there is an amp kind of behind me, because I've got some rumble, and sometimes I have to do a half and half. One ear out and one ear listen to what's going on, and I get a better mix that way. But it is what it is. What have you said? So you said, so is Manchester going rogue? I don't know if it's that. I just think there's a lot of people with money trying to do stuff up in Manchester, and have been for like 20, 30 years.
Right.
Partly around what Manchester United brought to the city in terms of a global focus on a team that was doing really well in football. And suddenly there was lots of money pouring in from sort of every avenue. It became a very trendy place. Or if something opened in London, they had a similar place in Manchester. It became that sort of thing. And then you said using ear monitors and wireless packs keeps the noise lower. It does, although you have to be aware of wearing your in-ears and keep turning the pack up and giving yourself hearing problems from the in-ears. That's becoming a thing now.
And that's because
where people
is so loud. If the stage volume itself is so loud, or the mains are so loud, and you have to turn up your pack to hear, it means that I use in-ears all the time now. It's a rare thing for me to play through an amp. Like, for example, Tuesday night, I did an Applehead show, and, live metal, and all that. And we had in-ears for us. Put them in, set the levels and set your mix so you can just go. But they still had amps on stage. Like, I still had an 8x10, and the drums were right there live. And there were 3 Marshall stacks on the other side of the stage. So because we were using in-ears, our volume wasn't as deafening, because we were hearing each other this way. But we could keep the pack down, because as soon as I hit a note, the whole stage would do this. So it was a leveling, because I could keep where I could just hear the little things I needed to hear to get into it. But at the same time, the stage was moving, because the low end, and so was the kick drum. So to your point, it is important to manage your ears, because there are people who are getting hearing loss now from having put stuff in there, because there's nowhere for the sound to go. It locks in there and just keeps hitting your eardrums. So it's something to be careful of. But if you're in a place where everybody's on in-ears, and the limiter, shall we say, is setting you at 60 dB or 70 dB or what have you, if everybody is doing that, you can turn them down and still get the full effect, and you can be beating on the guitar and doing everything you want to do. It won't hurt your ears at that point.
Gareth, you were on about the audience wearing headphones. Right, got it. The problem with that is you're always going to get idiots that will walk off with the headphones. So you're constantly having to be replacing those.
Unless you're doing like...
Say again?
Unless you're doing like the airline does, and you give them the little packs of ears.
I think you've got a visitor behind you.
That's my lady. She's in the need of something. We'll take care of that in a few minutes.
That's okay. So Garrett, it's harder when you've got like several hundred people in a venue. It's hard to arrange that, and I think the financial cost would outstrip the benefit of doing it. It's an idea. I think on things like corporate events where you do these silent discos and stuff, it kind of works pretty well, but you've got people that are being sensible and probably aren't that trolleyed at the start. At least I've done plenty of corporate events where people have been absolutely leathered,
taking the piss.
There we are. Absolutely.
These things.
Yeah, I don't know where it's all going. I don't know. I don't have a solution for it. I'll just be there doing gigs until the time I stop doing gigs, I guess. So,
that's mine.
We will see.
Yes. Well, you can always take out the lorry and flatten it out and put everything on.
That's it.
I've done a bunch of those as well. And that's when you can bring out the monster amp rig. And that way 5 kilos away, somebody's going, I hear bass, because it's hitting your house. Look at that.
That's right. That's it. We'll take that chimney stack off. You watch.
That's right.
Quite
Forget
right.
the chimney. We've got it for you.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's coming out at 3:30. Oh, it is 3:30 here in the UK.
Yeah.
Hope you're all safe and well. It's Brooksy's Base Corner live chat 106. So we
Mm-hmm.
move over to Tuesday evenings from this Tuesday, the 1st of April. So this is the last Saturday live chat. We will now do impromptu live chat. So I've had a few people go, what do you mean impromptu? So basically, the reason the live chats now move back to Tuesday from the Saturdays, because we're now into sort of spring and summer. So my working schedule means generally on a Saturday afternoon, I'm driving to an event. I might be performing at a few in the afternoons. So I couldn't guarantee that I could schedule in the live chats for 3 or 4 months and guarantee that they would always happen, so which kind of makes it a bit pointless doing it. So what we've done is from Tuesday, we go back to Tuesday evening live chats here in the UK, 8 p.m. UK time. Wherever you are in the world, do the calculations, of course. And what we will do is on gigs as often as possible on Saturdays, if I have good mobile internet coverage or good Wi-Fi coverage at the venues and locations we're playing, I'll do a live chat, and I'll probably put up a message either on Facebook or on the community tab here on YouTube, and I will say, we're going to go live in half an hour or an hour. Join me at this gig or this festival, and it'll happen. So keep an eye out on the community tab, the posts that I do within the channel, and you'll get notified that way. So in some respects, some weeks you're going to get 2 live chats for the price of 1. There we go. Gareth, I'm going to get going, has got a gig to get to. You try saying that with a mouthful of jalapenos. I'm going to get going, has got a gig to get to. Very good. Gareth, have a great gig, mate. Safe travels. Enjoy it. And I hope it all goes well.
Have a little curry and say that.
That's right. Yeah. I'm going to get going, has got a gig to get to. That's a cracker, that.
Because I'm GGG.
Yeah, I'm going to get going, has got a gig to get to. Very good. That's a belter. And thank you for all your posts during the week, young Gareth. Thank you. I did get them all. I did check them out.
Yes,
well
indeed.
Done, sir. So what does the rest of the day hold for you, young man?
Well, since ironically in my house, when we have a birthday that's midweek, we usually celebrate something on the weekend. So Now, mind you, I've already had cake. So cake is...
You can always have more.
Of course. Well, I need to have a curry.
Yes.
So my oldest daughter has said, we're going for curry. So
super. Well, lunchtime curry?
I will probably get something lovely burning on the top of my head up here at some point today. Yes.
Get you.
All right. And, this is just how this goes.
Yes, of course.
Other than today's kind of a rest day because I've been running for the last 7 days, grabbing this, grabbing that one. So today I can just kind of go, okay, I have no strings in my hands.
Oh, good for you.
Just have a moment, shall we say. It's as much as we enjoy playing, there's always nice for a day of rest.
Well, occasionally you get to that point where you've been playing constantly and it's literally, there's pain within your fingers, but there's no physical sign of it. You get that, like, I used to call it was like hard pain. And it was actually just one more gig and it's like, oh my God, my fingers are going to fall off. But it's like it's in the fingertips. It's underneath the calluses and you can't get at it. And the only way to, if the calluses are good, then just take a day or 2 off of playing and then get back on it and you have another cycle. But,
right. You could do that or go to the spa.
Well, yeah, but the problem with that sort of thing is you end up fingers going in water and you end up losing your calluses.
I don't know.
Softening them and stripping them.
And calluses here, so I got them on top.
I don't get that. No, I don't get that. I just have them on the fingertips. But
that's from the gym. So I've got them here and I've got them. And what's funny is you hit your thumb and your thumb changes position because you're doing this all the time.
Steady, you'll get shut down by the authorities.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm saying at the top of this, I may well bring the. Actually, I'll get this out now. I might well take this on my gig tonight. So I've not gigged with this.
Let's see it.
In fact, I've possibly never gigged with it since I bought it.
Hmm.
I suspect, because when I got it, it had a couple of pickup issues where something wasn't right and there was something not right on the circuit. So actually, this is a good reminder to me. I need to run this through an amp before I go tonight. So it's a Status Matrix, one of them.
Okay. Oh, lovely.
I just felt the past couple of request shows that I've done. This is 1990.
Mm-hmm.
One of the original ones. It's quite thick.
Oh yeah.
Thick neck there. I bought this second hand. It'd been through a couple of people, but 2011 from a guy in St Albans. Here we are. Beautiful.
There we
Very
go.
black. Yeah, he did. Well, I did very well on it. Put it that way. What was I saying? Past couple of request shows I've gone to, I've taken the empathy, and I've just found on certain songs a little lack of twang, which I wouldn't normally put the empathy down to. Some of that I think is down to the combo being so low down. I'm not getting anything out of that speaker that I can hear. I'm too high above it.
Mm.
But also in the in-ears, I just felt I was lacking a little bit of sizzle in the top end. I don't want to start over EQing on the pedals and stuff. And also, it's never a bad thing to have a little change. So I thought when this live chat finishes, I'll get this hooked up to an amp, just check everything's right, check the circuit's okay, check the batteries are okay, and maybe take that
Make a
tonight.
You can make a short.
I can. Well, I probably won't do a short. I'll do a gig vlog for that. So, and actually, anyone's waiting for the gig vlogs, and I said I had a few racked up. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tonight would be number 10. I've been working on the long form gig vlogs for 2 days. So number 4 will probably go out on Monday. Number 5 will probably go out on Wednesday. So I'm going to start clearing those through from this week. So keep watching.
I just had a crazy idea.
Yes, sir.
I just thought of this. Of course, in the land of the pink bass, there's lots of nutty ideas. There is a shop in Nashville called Carter Vintage.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing but vintage basses.
Oh, lovely.
It would be lovely for a poll question on the viewers, listeners, and the gang that hangs with us, if they would be interested if I made a trip
I think you
and
should.
we look at literally everything in the shop.
Yeah, do it.
Okay,
We'll have to. The only problem is obviously we're going on to Tuesday evenings, but it would be afternoon for you. So if you have an afternoon,
right, because it'd be 2 p.m. It'd be 2 p.m. for me at 8 o'clock your time. So
okay, well there you go.
So
yeah,
we
if
could
you
figure
want to do that, that'd be fab.
Either that, or if we can't do it live, maybe we just do it. You and I record it, and then everybody can see it.
Okay.
Because
great.
They've got. If what you saw at the show was smashing, wait till you see what these guys have. It makes it look a little bit.
Well, I tell you what, go and have a chat with them and see if they're agreeable to you doing it.
I shall.
And they're happy for you to walk around with a camera and do all that. And if they are, have a rough idea in your head how long it would take to walk around and do it. And yeah, I'm happy to do it on a Tuesday live chat. It'd be great.
Yeah, we come up with something because again, we're talking all things bass. Why not?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Shops and stuff like that is always great. It's because you're seeing stuff that you're not going to see at the general music store.
Right. And the irony thing of it is they have a website. So if someone on here who was hanging out with us wanted to see something specific, I could actually sit down and track on it.
Yeah, well, there you go. You could also set up with them for your own channel an affiliate link.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So if we're highlighting what they've got to the hordes
Mhm.
around the world, someone might see, well, like the guy last week saw that 68 candy apple red pea bass and came back to
Right.
me on Monday or Tuesday and said, I've just watched your video. Who was selling that bass? Because I want to buy it.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Well,
it's never a bad thing.
it doesn't hurt because I mean, the thing is, because I live here, everybody's a musician in some capacity.
Mm.
There's, you go out to a restaurant and sit down and order your curry, and your waiter or waitress might be a musician. You know,
Yep.
that's the old joke about how do you get a bass player off your doorstep? Pay for the pizza.
Hey, there you
Woo!
go.
And you can substitute
He's
drummer,
quick. He's
guitar.
here all week, folks. Yes, he
That's
is.
right. Tip your server. Oh yes,
But
that's
yeah,
great.
no, that's great. That'd be great.
Okay, let
Do
me see
that.
if I.
I mean, I'd love to do something similar with the gallery here in London, but the problem with the gallery is it's so tight in there. You
Right,
literally turn around and you're going to knock something off a stand, and it
right,
is so busy in there that it would just be, it would be really problematic. I could do it if I went there like an hour before they opened, or half an
right.
hour before they opened.
Or
And
bass
also
brother.
yeah, Bass Brothers would be a better thing. But also in the gallery they have the radio on, so you've
Mm,
got music running in the background, which is going to lead to copyright strikes further down the line. So
right, right, right.
again, it's like, well, it's not the perfect situation. I've gone in there and filmed shorts. I just haven't put them up. I've gone in with the thing and done a load of filming. I've just
Yeah.
never edited it up to be a thing. Actually, that reminds me, I need to go into my backlog of library footage and actually do those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
So
exactly where they are.
one thing I'll look into for sure on this side, Westfort's saying it's a great idea. I'm
Mm,
looking at the chat. I got two screens going now, so I can look at the chat. So let me see what I can do and see if we can arrange it for a
yeah.
Tuesday.
All right.
Um,
What's the name of the
see what.
place? I'll have a quick look now, just see what sort of stuff they've got in there.
Sure, it's Carter's Vintage. Have a go at that one.
Yeah, there we are. Oh wow, it looks like
Yeah.
an absolute barn of a place.
Right, right. It's a cracker.
Right,
It's a
let's have
cracker.
a look. Oh,
Can
here we
play.
go. Bass guitars. Oh my god, a Court Gene Simmons axe signed. Another someone's been. Gary, have you been selling your Gene Simmons collection? There's a Punisher in there for $3.5. A Dean Mark 7 in hot pink, $4.5 grand. Well, that's got your name all over it, surely.
Well, too many points for me, but
Oh, I
no.
can't
See,
believe
I
I'm
mean,
hearing such things.
no, because if I was going to do pointy, I'd pull this thing out.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. With
So,
a suitable pair of trousers as well.
and no pain.
Mm, never pants. It's too much chaffing.
Right.
Yeah, they've got some nice stuff. There's nice 76 precision in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sunburst 3.8. Yeah. Yeah. Fender 64 jet. That's a bizarre looking thing. What the hell's
Mm-hmm.
that? That's got those funny pickups that were on that thing they brought out a couple of years ago.
Oh,
They,
yeah, probably
you know
swapped
what
it.
I mean.
Yeah, yeah. They probably
They
either.
are. Oh, here we go. That isn't an original. Body refinish. Put my teeth in today.
Hello.
Body refinished. Replace tuners. Converted to fretless. Replace the pickguard. Replace the electronics. New knobs. New bridge. Replace strap buttons. Body routed for Lakeland Kaisonic pickups. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not really a vintage bass at all, apart from that slab of wood.
Right. Right.
Oh well, interesting though. There's a special walnut, 82.39. Crikey.
Yeah. Well, we didn't say they were inexpensive. We just said they had
No.
stuff.
65 Olympic white, looks original, $20 grand. A Kramer Ripley. Never heard of such a thing. 1985. God,
I
that's
can
got some controls.
I can tell you about that one.
Go
The Kramer Ripley was one of the last things that the original Kramer company put out. It was a stereo bass. If you notice all the switches and
on. Yeah.
all the knobbery to twiddle, those were all because they set up the preamp and such to where you could run it stereo. It was an idea for a moment, and it never really caught on.
Hmm. Looks like they probably thought ahead of the game at the time. They had all that new technology coming out round about then.
Right,
EMGs and all of that sort of stuff, and active pickups and active circuitry and da 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 da. And they probably thought, oh, let's chuck everything in. And
right,
then people
right.
went, no, it doesn't work. It's too much.
Well, the Ripley, there was a couple of Kramer Ripley guitars, and those were something that Eddie Van Halen had been messing about with. So they kind of gained
Right.
that little bit of something, and they put it into a bass, and everybody went, and that was the end of it.
Hmm. They've
So,
got a G&L ASAP prototype here, £47,500. I thought you were a bit
so
hopeful there. I'd say
yeah,
I'd think you were a bit hopeful if it was half that price.
I think so. Well, that's why it's still sitting there.
Yeah, agreed.
Hmm.
All
Not
right,
everything.
that looks like some nice stuff there.
Yeah, so I'll see what I can sort to go in there, and I'll have a word with them and see if we can do something fun.
Cool,
Yeah,
excellent, excellent.
yeah. We have a couple.
Yeah,
There's a couple
nice.
places around here like that. So I mean,
Okay.
because this Nashville is historically speaking a Fender town.
Mm.
So everybody at some
Unsurprisingly.
no, well, country music, everything came off of a Precision or a Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you get down to it, and then the Stingrays crept about, and those things happened. And for the Jack Bruce fans in the room, everybody had an EB. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty common.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not
Oh
difficult,
well, it'll be interesting. I mean, there's some interesting things in there, that's for sure.
right? Well,
Not everything you'd see very often.
this is true. Well, it's kind of like when we were at the show last weekend that someone had one of those very early Ken Smith basses. That was
Yeah.
something you don't see, especially in four string. You don't see those hardly ever.
Mm.
There's another guy. I mean, thought of this too. Now that I'm got my head thinking, I'm in the game all of a sudden. Um,
Mm.
the low end .net. That would be Brian Barrett,
I
the
remember
low
that.
end bass. Yep. So he
Mm.
is actually not too far from me, and I could literally spend time there because he's a friend of mine.
Okay.
So we could go into all, and he's got everything from Alembic to Wall to Fender to Rick to
Great.
you name it. There's stuff in there. I'm sure I have no idea what he's got in there.
Okay.
So we could arrange that as well.
Super stuff.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
good.
kind of what
It's all good.
kind of it's kind of like So we're joking about me coming across the pond. We have to do one
Mm.
of these in.
Oh, we'll be doing bass direct. Well, we'll probably do all of them. Actually, this is the thing. See, if two of us went to the gallery, it's a
Right,
lot easier for one person to do the chatting and the talking while the other
right,
person's doing the camera.
right,
It's a bit harder
right,
when it's just yourself and you're behind it because you're trying to make sure you can't. It's like very hard to do that, and you turn around, you knock something. Yeah, it
right.
gets a bit messy. Whereas
Well,
if you can take the camera bit out of the equation because someone else is doing it, it becomes a lot easier to film, as
it
I'm
does.
sure you're aware.
Yes, and that's where I think the Diggins guys, if we showed up suddenly, get
Yeah,
some bits
you'd
and bobs for your
need to
bass,
book
and that
that.
way it can play.
You'd you'd need to book that up well in advance because they would need to know you're coming. They're
Uh,
just so busy, aren't they? So
oh yeah, yeah, I would do that, and then
yeah.
like I said, we could get the bits and bobs, and suddenly you'd be like, well, I guess I'm taking this on the gig tonight. So yes,
If only. Take
we're going to
someone's
work that
custom
now.
order who doesn't
Work
even
on.
know that it's ready. Yeah.
Right, right, right. So yes,
Yeah.
that will happen one of these days.
It will. It will. It will. We're
Yes,
just
indeed.
waiting on. We're just waiting on a date.
That's right. That's right.
But,
So yeah.
yeah.
So we'll
It,
have some chat. We'll have some chat offline on that. But I've got some
yeah.
ideas we can have, and do some things that are maybe a little more surprising, but full on bass.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Westport says, "Don't my JD."
Yeah. Well, you need to tell me which color.
If it's yes,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
well,
Actually, it reminds me, I've got to do a JD video with this Series 3 on the Workbench because I've got to get round to putting those grub screws in the saddles
yes.
so that I can actually lower the strings, reduce the action. Good old Joe Goose. I haven't seen him for a while. Sent me
Oh yeah,
those.
yes.
So, yeah, got to get in. Actually, are they all the same size? No.
Yeah.
No, they're not. No, 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 no. So I've got 4 here. There's 2 in one size and 2 in another.
So
What
are
are
those for?
these different sizes? These
Are
are
they for the
meant to be
bridge?
bridge saddle screws. So hang on, let me show
Right.
you.
Yeah.
So the one that's
Okay.
up and the one on the bottom are longer than the 2 that are lying flat.
Right. So the two lying flat are the ones that are bridge saddle adjusters, and the two
Okay.
long ones are the ones that go in the side of the bridge, top and bottom, around the bigger screw.
Thank you. See, this is what I pay for. This is the knowledge that I tap into. Well, that's fine then. That makes
Well, here,
reasonable sense.
let's
Very good.
let's do an example, shall we? So
Yeah,
these
do.
the screws that are here,
Right. Thank you.
and then you have the screws in here. So the small ones go here, the bigger ones would go on sides
Got
like
it.
this.
Okay, it's just the saddle ones. So it's
Right.
basically 2 saddles. I think it's the D and the G, where
Okay.
both of them of the 2 screws. There's one in both that aren't gripping the Allen wrench. So you're
Right.
literally turning it and nothing's happening. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing the actual shape has been ground away by someone putting them up and putting them down, putting them up, putting them down, and they've eventually got to a point where they're not doing anything. So grand, very good.
Right. Yes, indeed. Well,
You're having a chat with Westfort here. Can't wait to receive. When's it due, Westfort?
Yes. When's the white one
Like
arriving?
a baby.
Yes.
When's
Are you
the stork
expecting?
appearing?
Tell
Yeah.
when we expected a loved one, Mum. Yes.
What have you ordered? Classic, Series 1, 2, 3, something different?
Star Child.
What have you got? Maybe.
Star Child would be.
Session,
Oh, you know what?
maybe.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Spacebass.
I've actually spoken with Toby about having a pink Star Child made.
Nice. Are the
Oh
inlays
yeah.
going to be pink?
So I asked Mike about that because they use abalone. There's no way to do them unless you were to paint them
Right.
on. I think Toby could do it, but I don't want to put him through that.
Oh, abalone will be fine.
That'd be lovely. Okay, you got a
If you
super.
got some nice colourful stuff with like some blues and greens in it.
Yes, that would nice set off the pink.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to send you a photo. I'm going to have to send you a photo of one that I'm going to have him do for me because it's a color you won't believe. It's pink, but it's a color you won't believe.
Is this the one that changes that you were talking about a while?
No, he actually made one that had kind of the color shifting clear coat, and Toby had made it. Somebody had requested it. It was a 32 scale, so it was medium, and completely different. But the thing looked amazing. He put it up. They decided they canceled their order. He put it up and sold like that.
There you go.
Oh yeah, it was quite lovely. So
Westfort, you are having a Series 3 neck and headstock binding. Very good gold hardware. Very good. Make sure you use some Never Dull when it starts tarnishing. That will bring it back to brand new state. Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long have you been waiting, and how long have you got to wait?
Everybody's question.
Yeah.
Did you see the one by, just out of curiosity, there's a guy somewhere over there. He goes by JJ Bass as his handle on socials.
Yes. He's got nicks.
Did you see the series? Yes. Did you see a series one that he had made with the Queen bust of the level 42 Queen as the inlays?
I'm trying to think. When did he have it done?
It was within the last 6-8 months he received it.
Let me have a look. It's probably something I saw at the time and thought, oh, that's very nice, and then moved on.
Yeah,
Let's just have a look. Let's have a
it's
look on
nice.
his profile.
A natural looking quilted maple series one, and they had to get permission
Ah,
from. Yes,
yes,
had to make,
yes. He's there's a video of him here. He does a demo, Steely Dan Black Friday.
that's the one.
Yes, and they're on there. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. He had to ask Mark King for permission so they could do the inlays.
Ah,
He agreed, obviously.
yeah. Yeah, good luck if you hadn't and he came knocking.
He'd be saying, "That's
There'd be a
my base,"
conversation.
right? You'd see it on the next level 42 tour.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
exactly.
gotta wait till the end.
Looks like just a quick question. Have you secured that blue JD?
Yes.
Good. Okay. It looks like there were a few people. I'm just scrolling through a chat on that guy's page that there were a few people after it.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay.
Yep. I actually have another one waiting in the wings as well.
It never stops.
Well, it's so like I always make jokes about how many shades of pink there are. So I mean, if I can come up with a pink, I can paint another guitar, and then I just have to find the dosh for it.
That's it.
Yep.
We know these things. Yeah. What's this? I've got to wait till the end of the year. Oh crikey! Okay, that's not so
Okay.
far away. It flies by.
Quickly.
I had them on the phone the other day. Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, happy waiting on that, but it'll be worth it. What finish are you having?
He said
Are
white.
you having an old? Yes, right.
Tucked in there is white
Okay.
because he was concerned if I said pink, it's mine. So he's breathing a sigh of relief. He's breathing a sigh of relief that it's white instead of pink.
Just be aware if you're having a white base, as those of us with white bases know, they don't stay that shade of white. Okay, so over time it will kind of become more like an ivory white. So there's like a tinge of sort of cream in it. Some do, some don't. Generally, they do. But it's not a bad. I've seen people get hysterical about their white base suddenly. I hadn't played. Actually, someone messaged me about it a while back. Said I've got this bass. What was it? Something from the 80s. And they said I've had this bass and I've never played it, and I've kept it in the case to look after it, and I've pulled it out and it's gone yellow.
Right.
That's white bases. That's what. How? Oh, that was it. They were asking me via the channel. What do I need to use to polish it to make it white again? I said you can't. I said it's a respray.
No.
I said but leave it as it is. It doesn't play any different. It's just the look. Well, I wanted it all perfect. It's like white is the worst color for that. Really, it's. I remember speaking to Bernie Goodfellow about it, and he said he hated doing white bases because you get one speck in the finish. You got to wipe it all down. You got to start again. If you're doing like a job lot of white, then it's not so bad because you can make the setup totally secure so no dust or anything else comes in to ruin it. But if you're doing one-offs, spray shops hate doing one-offs on white. And I get it. You one mistake and you got to redo the whole thing. Whereas with other colors, certain colors, you can do a multiple layer, but with white, you get something in there and it can still show through underneath another coat and another coat, and it's a nightmare. But I love a white base, so my white Kabiki's not doing too bad. It's gone sort of creamy ivory. Hang on, let's get it out. Don't drop it, Michael. That would not. So this was white. This was very white when I got it. It looks kind of white under the light a bit, but it is kind of. There we go.
There you go.
See, it's gone a bit more ivory-like, but on stage it will still look white. It's just close up. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But I don't care. It's they are what they are.
Right. Think of Chris Squire's Rick.
Exactly.
It wasn't technically white, but
And even if you have an Olympic white, which is probably the whitest white you can get for a finish, Olympic white tends to be that sort of totally faded out white that you're going to get washed out almost. That
You'll see a
pure
bunch.
yellow. They all will.
Yeah. Oh, you
Go
see a
on, you were
bunch of
going
old.
to say.
Look in your '60s fenders when they're original finish. They turn very creamy
Yeah.
after a while,
Yeah.
you know, because the nitro ages.
But even on ones that haven't, that have had a polyurethane gloss on the top, there's no way of getting away from it. So if you
Right.
want it staying that icy white, then you're going to have it resprayed, and a respray ain't that cheap. And certain brands use very thick lacquer, and you go to a spray shop and they just say, it's going to cost you $1,000, mate. And then you
Quickly.
weigh up, is it worth it? What's the point? You could have it done and then get it dinged. Just play the thing. Play the thing is my,
You
make
know.
use of it. Enjoy. It's like my empathy got dinged 6 weeks after I got it, when a plug bounced off the floor. I pulled it out the wall, dropped it by accident, bounced off the floor, and by some sheer weirdness, bounced off the floor and hit the empathy, slap bang, mid on the contour, the gut contour on the top. It's been there ever since 2002. That base
Yep.
has been around the world. It's got dings all over it. Bang. Don't be precious. I know some people go, oh, yeah, there's no way to treat an instrument. I'm out gigging. It's my tools of my job. Worst comes to worst, I'll get a bass resprayed. It's not the end of the world. But don't let the things just hang on the wall and do nothing. That's a crime in my book. Here we go.
Just like this.
Yeah. All of that, you know.
From you, I mean, it's not going to be pristine. I mean, this thing's been around the block a few times. Look at this.
And the thing is, we're talking about this, and then you get people who pay more for a fender that looks like it's been dragged along behind a lorry for the best part of its life. And they'll go,
Right.
I want it, look at, the fact it's all worn and beat. I'll pay extra for that. You can't win. So,
No.
but use
No.
them. That's what they were created for. They
Right.
weren't created as paintings to hang on a wall, although they do look lovely on walls, I have to say. But get out there and use them. The electronics are going to peter out if you don't use them, and especially the active stuff. You don't run a battery through it occasionally and play it and let the current do its thing. Those components you'll get dry joints and everything else. I mean, you can have that anyway, but use the thing. Use them.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Westford, part of the story of the instrument. Yes, exactly. I can recount most of my basses where the dings came from. It's like the pink Kabiki, huge bang on the under thing. I was about to go on stage for the last set at the Georgian Dragon in Acton with the glam rock tribute band, December 96. And I was climbing over two big flight cases that we had. I got off the flight case and went onto the stage. And as I jumped onto the stage, I hit the corner of like a roof overhang that was on this stage indoors. And I smashed my head on it. And as I did that, the bass dropped out of my hand and hit the ground and got this clunk. It's like, oh shit. And I had blood pouring down my head from where I'd hit my head slap bang in the middle on this roof.
Yep.
And that's the story of, and I've never had it resprayed. Leave it be.
Yep.
It'll outlive me. So
the only time you need a respray, honestly, is if you're doing something special. I just say let it be, because like Westford said, it tells the story.
Yep,
To
exactly.
your point, you crack your heads on something and the bass goes boom. Well, you know it, and then it's a, shall we say, it's a love tap on the bass because it's being utilized.
If it was a case that bass was suddenly going to be doing a couple of 100 gigs a year, and I was going to be going all around the world in different temperatures and humidities, then I might consider getting it done, because the break in the lacquer now exposes the timber to those elements, which I wouldn't want it to do. Or I might take it to a spray shop and say, can you do a patch up on that section? I know it's not going to be perfect, but I don't want moisture and cold getting in there affecting the wood. But I haven't done a gig with that bass since I had it defretted, which was again 2002. So no one asks me for fretless these days. So Best ones have dings and scuffs, exactly. Westfort, how they say if you want to relic, do it yourself. Yeah, don't have to ask me, it just happens.
It just goes.
It just happens. There's no I don't have to ask anyone to do it. I can just do it myself. There's no worries about that.
That's right. I think
It is five. Sorry, it's 4:05 here, London town. Live chat 106 here on Brooks's Bass Corner. I got the pink bass man with me, of course. We're going to be doing our a podcast. We've got to get down to doing that shortly. Now I'm
yes,
clearing the decks of the stuff. The pair of us are going to do a podcast together, so you can hear us whittering on about bass. And also, I also should say, I will be doing one with Greg Hagger as well, which we talked about before Christmas, which will be a slightly different thing. It may even be that I bring Greg in to do it, and we do it as a threesome, if you
the Three
so
Musketeers.
please. We will see. We will see. I need to touch base with him shortly, actually. But yeah, lots of things going on here on the channel. So it's been Shorts week. There's going to be gig vlogs coming up this week, workshop stuff this week. So I've got to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got to get 8 bases ready for the next couple of weeks. So definitely, I did some a couple of weeks ago. It's probably 4 of the 8, and then will be 8 videos here on the channel. So they're coming up very shortly. So it'll be
And then there's Scrubs.
Music Man Stingray, 2GBs, Spectre. Trying to remember what else was there. Lakeland pickups and JD, yeah, Saddles, of course. The
Woohoo,
Lennon,
Grubster.
Persuader, the Harley Benton Marquis. Oh, and the 2 precisions that I use for the Queen shows, they need restringing. So I'm going to get this weekend. This week I've got a gig with Supersonic Queen at the XL Centre on Tuesday, and then I don't have another Queen show till the end of April, so I've got time to get those done. But I want to get this week's gig done, finished. Those strings come straight off, restring both basses, reset up, clean the frets, sort the bridges out, sort the pickup height out as well. I noticed on last week's gig that I dropped the pickup on the black one just down a little, and it was lacking a bit of punch, so we'll just bring that one back up. I haven't been showing comments today, sorry, too busy with the chat. Yes, you got a scratch on your King bass, and it does not stop me playing it. No, it doesn't. And actually, I'll drop this one here, and I did it before when we did the workshop videos. If you go into any of this is for you, Westfort, but it's for anyone that's watching. If you get a scratch on a bass, and suddenly it's like, oh God, get some cream of Carnauba wax. Ernie Ball do some. It's got a green label on it. It says cream of Carnauba. You need a little bit. Put it along the scratch, and then buff it with a polishing cloth, microfiber cloth, whatever you want to use, whatever your preference is. You do it for about 2 minutes. Just keep on at it. Then a separate cloth that hasn't got the wax on it. So if you have 2 cloths, and that's like your finishing polish, and then look at it, I bet you the scratch has gone. It works a treat. There are other brands. Maguire's are great for polishes and waxes, but Ernie Ball, I think Ernie Ball, Dunlop, cream of Carnauba wax, green label, it's fabulous. If you want, I think I sent you a link when we were talking about your King bass before, Westfort, but let me just dig that out, and for other people that are watching going, what the hell's he talking about? Let me just dig this out. So my Status Empathy had various sort of scratches and dings on it. And that was before we did the bass string experiment. So here we go. So on there was a patch around one of the pickups that was very sort of swirly scratches, just because that's where I put my thumb. I tend to play with a floating thumb rather than anchoring my thumb on a pickup, and it created the nail that sort of brushed against the polish over 20 years and created this swirling. And so I applied some cream of Carnauba wax to it, and it comes up stunning. Right, so it's there.
Nice.
Zimmel, what's that?
So it's what it is They call it Zymol, just in case you're curious. Um, it is a cleaner wax.
Okay.
So what you do is you rub it on and you let it sit, and then it turns, color white and all that, and you polish it
Nifty.
off. And what it does is it cleans the surface and then seals it and waxes it up, and it gives a very, very
Okay.
smooth finish.
And what company makes that?
That's the name of the company as
Oh,
well.
okay. Okay, so they just do one product.
Right. I think they do a few more now, but that's their flagship
Okay.
product. That's what started
Okay,
everything.
we'll check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, it's you can use it on. I use it on cars, but I also use it on guitars when I'm polishing, because
Mm-hmm.
some of these have been nicked up and scuffed up quite a bit, and I can put that on, and it will just glaze nicely, and it handles it really well.
Okay, interesting. I'll see if
Hmm.
we can get some of it here. See, a lot of the times, like when I was watching Dave's World of Fun stuff, a lot of the products he talks about, you can only get in the US. Simple
Ah,
Green. You can't get it over here. Although I found who the UK distributor was,
right.
and I had to buy it in bulk. So basically, I've bought it in like a container of concentrate, and then you water it down.
Yep. Right. That's how it's
But
done here.
actually, okay, but actually trying to buy like like you would a household cleaner in a spray bottle, you can't get
Mhm.
Simple Green in that format here.
Interesting. Yeah, we usually it comes in a jug, good sized concentrate, and then you
Mm.
dilute it with your spray bottle and do your thing with it.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I've realised what I could have done there. I can send you an affiliate link, Westford. I'll put it here on the channel for anyone that's listening to what I'm saying. I can give you an affiliate link from Amazon if you're happy to use Amazon. I know some people aren't in the current political climate. Let me go Dunlop cream. Spell it properly, it'd be good. I can give you an affiliate link, so it actually helps. I mean, there are different brands. Turtle Wax do their own cream of Carnauba, but if you want a small amount, why isn't that showing up? Dunlop, right? It's not right. Dunlop Guitar Care. Here we go. So they do a thing called the Wood Care Kit, which is the Carnauba wax and the guitar polish and cleaner. So let me get a link. Excellent. And I'll stick it in there. And if you want to try some of this out, you may find it elsewhere with other retailers cheaper. I don't know. But if that helps you, I'll put it in the description box as well.
There you
We want that live. 106 at the top of the list because it's currently active, of course. So I'll put this in here. It'll be very obvious. So that's amazon.co.uk. And I'll put... What I'll do, I'll break that down. Hold on. So that's UK. And then I'll do a US world.
There you go.
There it is. And obviously it's much cheaper in the US.
These things happen.
Yeah. There we go. I want that. That's it. Oh, 22% off in the US. $19.40.
Not too bad.
It's not too bad. All
Yeah.
the prices on that stuff went up.
Shock.
It all went up a couple of years ago because I bought the big set of stuff, and I think it was about 24 quid. And when I looked at it again 6 months later, it had gone up to about 38. It was around the time of the Ukraine-Russia war starting.
Oh
So
boy.
links for UK, Amazon, and US and worldwide are in the description box. Yeah, and it's rocketed, and it hasn't come back down. So that's set now here in the UK. I know I've got it saved under my. It's there in my orders. Idiot.
Mr. John Cooper has joined us.
Ah, John, bless you. Hope you're well. I'm just checking to see. I bought this. I actually ended up buying a set for Neil Fairclough. Maybe it was 2020.
I usually end up running a polish on the guitar when I'm cleaning it up for the first time, and then sometimes it doesn't get polished again for decades.
Well, it can happen, can't it? It's I know I gave that status a complete overhaul, which is that maintenance video just before we started the bass string experiment.
Sure.
And then it didn't get anything apart from a quick body wipe now and again during that whole thing, and that was like 16 months. And that fingerboard afterwards was horrible. It was really horrible. So it deserved everything it got when. And actually, we did the cleanup. Was on a live chat. I think it was. Let's have a look. It was live chat 60 something. If I go back through them, bear with me a minute.
You know, the crazy thing.
We did it live.
The crazy thing while you're looking for that is most of the ones I have sitting here, with an exception or two, all have either painted or lacquered fingerboards. So for me to do a cleanup and a polish, it literally means I have to pull the strings, and I've got to down the fingerboard with the same stuff. So to give you an example, when we have one of these guys, I mean, this is all paint.
Yeah.
So so if I do this, I have to do literally the entire guitar because it's all been painted. Same with the JD I picked up earlier. It's just because the fingerboard was painted by the guys. If I'm going to do a cleanup on it, I have to take the strings off and go top to bottom with everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a once you get in there. I mean, if I do one guitar, I suddenly want to do like 5. And you think, oh, actually, I haven't got time to do 5, but I've got all the stuff here, so I really should. John, good to see you. You're popping in for 10 minutes. Very good. Don't forget, John, today's the last Saturday live chat. They're going to be Tuesday evenings, going back to the old slot, 8 p.m. from Tuesday, 3 days' time.
Yes, indeed.
West Fort also got a small ding on the side of a fret, but I'm not complaining to have found this King bass from someone who lives less than an hour from where I am. What you'll find, if that's on the lacquer of the neck, you can use, I remember someone saying they use super glue, but unless it's causing you a problem or it's affecting the integrity, leave it. Don't try and do anything. And unless you're going to take it back to Rob Green to respray it, I'd leave it alone. I've got chips and dings like on this matrix. Again, there's quite a few actually on this. There's an absolute cracker on the end of the headstock. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. It's there.
Oh, yes.
The camera to focus. Come on, camera. It's there. You don't know which bit to focus on. It's still focusing on me. No, don't focus on me. There we go. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a belter.
It is.
But I'm not going to worry about it unless this suddenly, I'd used this on lots of gigs and it got really bashed up, and then I might consider getting it re-lacquered. But it's going to cost about £1,000. for Status to do it, and I don't think Status really want to be doing too much respraying and stuff anymore. It would need to go somewhere else, probably Dave Wilson, or there's a place down here on this Bow Finishing, which is where Bernie Goodfellow sends all his instruments. Yeah, leave it. John Cooper, guys, I'm seriously considering pulling the trigger on a beautiful 71 Fender Jazz Olympic white maple board and wonderfully weathered, same age and wear as me. I regret not buying it from the gallery back in 2019. It's now come up on Bass Chat. Okay. As Jamie says, check it for all old parts before you drop big dosh. You want... My thing with buying vintage instruments like this is if you buy from individuals rather than a store, I'm more inclined to believe a store's provenance, especially from places like the gallery, because they've dealt with it. Now, the fact this has been bought from the gallery and now you're buying it from someone else, that would put my mind at rest. However, make sure you do your due diligence. Get that neck off. Have a look in the pocket, end of neck. You want to check the pickups. You want to check the soldering joints on the pots. Really, you want to take the bass to bits and check it. Very hard to do that, I know.
And the neck.
If the own... Go on.
Yeah, sorry, the neck is critical on the old Fenders because they tend to do this over time. So if it doesn't have what I call an S curve to it, then it's good because they want to go back and be trees again. So if the neck is straight and solid, and you want to check the end of the truss rod, the truss rod, because there's a few tricks to make them remain straight that you would not know unless you pulled it to bits, as you say, and figure it out. So anytime you're buying something vintage, you want to check, especially the neck for a Fender.
Agreed. So you want to play this. I mean, if you're going to go to the guy's house and try it all out, sit with it for a good half an hour. Don't just play it and go, oh, it's great. I bought a 62 reissue 10 years ago. White tortoiseshell plate. It turned out it was a vintage reissue, and someone had ordered 2 or 3 of them, and they'd swap bodies and necks and and they ended up keeping one body and taking the neck off another. But anyway, this bass had 60s tuners, machine heads. They were dreadful. And I bought it unseen, assuming it was going to play like, silk. And it didn't. And it didn't really sound that jazz-like. After I'd had it for about a year, the initial, I've got a 60s reissue, a 62 reissue jazz. And it didn't sound that great. It didn't sound that jazz-like for some reason. It just didn't have that jazz thing. Go to the back pickup and it was like, really? And I worked with it. I did loads of gigs with it. I thought maybe it's me. Maybe my hearing isn't tuned in to what the jazz thing should be. Had a couple of other jazzes, so I thought I knew, but you never know. And took it to a couple of places, and they said, that neck's got issues. I was like, well, can you sort it? And 2 places tried, and I was never convinced they got it right. Not their fault. I think there was just elements within that neck. And I don't want to say where I bought it or who I bought it from because it's not fair on them, because it was passing through. They were literally just like they'd taken it from one customer and then I was the next customer. But it wasn't great. And the acid test, I bought Bootsy, and I started doing the Hendrix Theatre show, which we only did one show. So anyone that's seen the Jimmy The Legend Lives On show, I was the bass player for that. I did one show, and then COVID happened and stopped us dead. I chose not to carry on when it started being talked about. They were going to have another push. Anyway, on that gig, I used that jazz for the 62 reissue for most of the rehearsals, and I thought, I've had it by this point 5 years, and I'm like, I'm not convinced. I don't think this is staying. And so I made a decision that I would use on the show. The 62 reissue would do the first set and Bootsy would do the second. No other parameters were changing. The amp wasn't going to change, the pedals. So I do one set with the 62, one with Bootsy. I videoed it. I recorded the audio. And about a week later, no, 2 weeks later, we were approaching lockdown. And I thought, oh, I need to have a listen to those and compare. Bootsy, pardon my French, pissed all over the 62 reissue. Absolutely. Sounded more like a jazz, more bottom end, more top, more middle, presence, punch, the whole caboodle. This 62 reissue, in comparison, should have just gone straight in a dustbin. And I was like,
Mhm.
there's no comparison here. Bootsy is far more of a jazz than this thing. And I've got X amount of pounds tied up in it. So someone knew I had it and said, oh, you don't want to sell that, do you? I went, yeah, all right. How much? And they went, well, that. And I went, yeah, fine, okay. Sold it and moved it on. And there was a perfect example of something that looked amazing, could have been fabulous, but actually, and when I tried it out, I thought it was a really good bass. I thought, yeah, it plays great. But it's only when you then get it home and start comparing it to other basses, take it out on gigs, and you're thinking, why isn't that back pickup more honky? Why isn't it? And it had the 2 volumes, 2 tone thing, which is great, should be great. But I wasn't getting the diversity of tones that I was expecting to get. And like I say, the bridge pickup just wasn't doing the honky thing. And I got sent a pair of Aguilar 60s jazz pickups to put in it, and they didn't solve it either. I was like, there's something seriously awry. And then I got a repair shop to swap over the control, so I ended up with a volume, pickup pan, and tone control, which I preferred that setup. And even with that, I still couldn't get that bridge pickup to be the honky thing it should be. And I just
The
thought,
wood.
you know what? There's something in this bass, just it's not working. And it was
Yep.
visible on the neck. It had a really thin fingerboard, so it should have been really good. It just had a hump in the middle. I thought, we're not going to get. I'm not investing hundreds of pounds getting this sorted out. It can just move on. I haven't got the time or the patience at that point.
So it goes to show that guitar can be vintage or it can be new and still be the dog's bollocks. Real simple. But the thing is the older ones, again, just for John, the older ones, because they've been well used, depends on how they were cared for.
Mm,
And historically speaking, you know, it's a piece of wood that used to be a tree. Some of them, if they're cut right, if you use quarter sawn maple and you flip the pieces, it will hold the neck in place. But some of them just do
mm,
this, and then they get squirrely. Or like the Rickenbackers, the old ones, like the ones I have sitting here, they're one piece necks. And I remember, of all people, Roger Waters, right, saying something about the original, the Rick he had in the late 60s, early 70s of Pink Floyd. He said it bounced really well. Whoops! Oh, look. And the neck would just kind of do this because they
yeah.
weren't designed for the rounds, the roto sounds that our bass lord Chris Squire had thrown on them. And it became an issue because the one piece neck didn't hold them.
Mm.
Same idea. Same idea.
Yeah, it's that was a thing. I couldn't believe. In fact, I've still got those Jimi Hendrix show recordings, and I had listened back probably about 6 months ago, and it was like 2 sets of chalk and cheese. The bass
Right.
sound is so different between the 2 sets. It was like, I can't really believe this, but it is. I had the pickups on the same settings,
Yep.
but Bootsy just with the EMGs, of course, ebony fingerboard, just did the jazz thing so much better than this 62 reissue. And at that point, I thought, well, I've got this much tied up in it. I can't justify. And I'm not normally like that. It can sit in the rack, but it was actually, I've got no use for it now that Betsy's just replaced it.
Yep.
And I had the Marcus Jazz. I've got the Lodestone with the Sims, so I can do the jazz thing on that. that Ibanez ATK had a better jazz tone than the 62 reissue. It's
Surprise.
like, yeah,
Surprise.
it's got to go.
Well,
But
it
like
does,
I say, when I went and picked it up, I actually remember buying it. I was in the Middle East doing a month of shows, and this was my little present for when I got back. That same week that I went and picked that jazz up was the same week I picked up the Mark King Alembic, which I'd already agreed to buy before I went on the trip. So all these things were sort of coming together all at once. You know the story. You know how this happens. You see one thing and suddenly there's three things, and you think, well, I've wanted all of them.
suddenly your pocketbook is going, woo.
Yes, exactly. Been there,
Hmm.
seen it, done it. Let's have a look at the messages there. Hello, Patrick Sweeney. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Westford, my Music Master neck is kind of all over the place. Westford, have a look on my maintenance videos. There's about 5 or 6 of them, and I show you how to adjust necks and what have you. If you need me to help, again, I'm going to be doing these workshop videos, so watch those. Have a look at what I'm saying. Also, have a look at Dave's World of Fun Stuff. He repairs and services so many bases. That's where I picked a lot of my stuff up from. Check that out. You can probably sort this for yourself. You probably don't need to take it to a repair shop.
Right.
Look at the neck pocket. You said, John Coo. I remember the original listing from the gallery. It's 6'9" body with a 72 neck. I was looking at that the other day. The seller has shared loads of photos, including with the neck off, and I still have the pics from the gallery. But like I say, John, go and sit with it. Don't be sold into buying it because of something in your head telling you this is the holy grail. Sit with
Agree.
the thing and play it. And if it doesn't jump out at you, or something about playing it doesn't feel right, don't do what I did with that 62 reissue, which was I agreed to buy it, went to pick it up, played it in the shop. Oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah, get it home, do a bunch of gigs with it. It doesn't do what I want it to do. It needs to be what a jazz is.
Yep.
Sometimes people mix and match bodies and necks because those are the two parts they wanted to get rid of. So again, don't. In theory, it sounds like a great bass. Sit and play the thing, and make sure that whatever price the guy wants, it's doing what justifies that price.
Absolutely.
Because not all old basses are great, just as not all good new ones are. You know, it's exactly the same.
Every company makes a lemon. It could be just
True.
it could be something in the wood, it could be something in the process of putting it together. Either way you look at it, I mean, again, I know you and I have laughed about this, but considering how many basses I've owned lifetime, when you're looking for a sound or you're looking for a feel, you have to go through 500 of them to find it. Well,
And the problem is you can't do that nowadays.
this is true unless, of course, you walk in and look, it's a candy shop, But I mean, I take
this was the joy of the old bass centre in Wapping, was that you could do that.
Yep.
Like if Warwick, when they were doing the Warwick stuff, Warwick brought out a new model, there would be 5 to 10 examples of that model there, as well as all their other ones. Status brought out an Empathy, they would have 7 Empathies all lined up there, different colours, and you could try that, and you could spend an afternoon sitting there and tuning your ear in to how those EQs were working, and is the neck right, and not just Status, I'm talking every brand here. You could sit here or sit in there and play 5 Series 2 Alembics. You can't. Where in the UK can you do that now? You can't. Even Bass Direct as the new distributor, they aren't going to have 5 Series 2s. The amount of cash that would tie up is off the scale.
They're not going to do.
No, but it's with any bass. It's very easy buying stuff online, and you see something, and like I've won auction, like my Aria SB 1000, I won on eBay, and I went and saw the guy, and I played it and walked away. I didn't do my due diligence because I'd already paid for it and gone through and committed to buy it.
Yep.
But the problem is, if you then once you walk away with it, that's it. And if it's not good, it's like cars. You buy a lemon of a car, you got to shift it on quick as you can without it being obvious that there's a problem with it. It's the same with basses.
Exactly. The more you can, so I agree, the more you can get your hands on the instrument, the more you can get a feel for it. You'll know if it speaks to you or not. I'll tell you what, the only time I've taken a chance with purchasing something I couldn't play first was my favorite brand. Because, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not in Brum. I can't just go and have a go and have a run on one. You know,
Yeah.
even one that's sitting in a shop somewhere, somebody could sit and actually do a video of it, but it's not my hands that are touching it. So yeah.
Correct. Correct. We all did that, Patrick Sweeney. We all did that. Although I didn't have a car at the time, I used to tube it anyway. Um, but yeah, no, exactly that. But that was the joy of a store like that. And there is nowhere, the only place similar in that respect would have been the old PMT in Birmingham. The current one's good. The older one, every time Ibanez released a new model, they would have multiple examples of that range, and you could sit there and try them because they had the space to allow that to happen, and they had the footfall that they knew they would shift them all one way or another. Um, but this is the problem now. It's like, you know, if you're trying to buy a Series 2000 status, you ain't going to find anywhere that's got 5 of them lined up.
Not
Not
anymore.
going to happen. I mean,
No.
I was lucky that in 2002 I had 5 at home. I bought 5, had the money to do it. I bought 5, I kept the best one, and I sold the rest. That
Yep.
was the long and short of it, because I knew if I had 5 of the, and it was easier then, you could go to the gallery and find a couple of 2000s or the base center, and they would have a few. But I realized at that point, and the way everything was going with eBay, and people were buying more and more stuff online unseen, and loot was huge for that. What became Gumtree was loot beforehand. I bought many of these bases off of loot, and you could go and meet someone at a tube station, give them 500 quid, and walk away with a status empathy. And if you did that 5 times, you'd have 5 lined up in your living room, and you could take your pick. Which one are you going to keep? Which ones are you going to move on?
Yep.
Can't do that now. Very hard. Patrick Sweeney, do you ever go to Monkey Business in Romford? No, I'm gutted. I never did. I never ventured out that way. To be honest, I can't remember when Monkey Business stopped trading, but I really wasn't in the market of building a collection, I think, before they closed down. In fact, let's have a look.
While you're doing that, the one thing that we
Yes.
can do here is we have access on this side to, like I said, like the Carter's Vintage, like Gruen Guitars, like even Guitar Center, which is kind of, yeah, because they don't have a lot of, old stuff. They get new stuff, but they usually get the bottom of the line stuff, and occasionally they'll have something that's decent. So I can sit and play anything. The question is, do I want to?
Mm.
So, you know, again, it all depends on what you're looking for. The other thing I was thinking, if anybody is coming across the pond and they're coming here for a holiday, we can do guitar shops together if somebody's coming this way.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I've seen enough. I hate to say it, but I've owned 1,500 plus guitars lifetime. Lifetime. I think I know what I'm looking at this point.
I would hope so. If you didn't, I'd be
I
worried.
indeed. Well, I've owned more Ricks than Glenn Hughes.
Yeah.
So
I can't find anything online to say when it closed down. But no, I never ventured out that way. I never ventured out to Romford. And I remember seeing the adverts all the time. And I remember thinking, one day I'm going to go around and do all these places that I've never been to. And slowly, one by one, they all disappeared. It's not because you're an old git, Patrick. It's because we saw the same adverts in the same magazines. You went there many times, bought your first Trace Elliott H250 there. It was meant to be a great store. I know loads of musicians now, and who I've met through my career, who are from that area, and they always used to say Monkey Business was one of the places to go to outside of the base centre.
even I know Monkey.
Yeah, they used to have JD. They had all the base Exotica stuff. You would see
Yeah,
it all listed in the magazines here. Guitarist, then bassist. I think they may have even had some adverts in the early BGM, possibly.
could
Don't
be.
quote me on that. But they were meant to be very good, and Yeah, I never got over there before. It kind of again, once things kicked off with broadband, eBay, people were able to buy stuff online safely.
Hmm.
That's when that was the death knell for a lot of these stores because they just couldn't maintain paying the overheads and being competitive. It was too expensive to do it.
Right.
And kind of once everyone was sort of selling stuff via eBay very easily and very quickly, that was it really.
And then it became a cesspool.
Somewhat. And
Yeah.
then also everyone knew the price of everything.
Yep.
So whereas in the earlier days you could get bargains, £275 JD Series 2, of course. Uh,
I wouldn't argue that one at all.
that'll know. Well, no. I did all right out of it in the end, but it was such a heartbreaker.
I remember you telling me about that one.
It was the preamp. I remember hearing it going, that don't sound like a JD.
Right. Right.
Okay. I thought, well, at least I can get it home and then I can get it to the base center and they'll fix it all up. And Chris just looked at it. He said, you do realize this is like a homemade little PCB in here. I said, well, I did have my reservations. He said, someone's taken the guts out and put it in another guitar. And funnily enough, it was the guitar that the guy had showed me. Oh, look at I built this. And he didn't tell me he'd taken the EQ out.
Oh, right.
And then I realised, it's got the splits up the fingerboard, and you could start seeing splits in the back of the neck through the lacquer.
Yep.
And then the neck shenanigans, and it was like, nah, I'm not putting up with this. And also, it just didn't fit the sound of the band I was in. To be honest, the Stingray did it far better.
That makes sense. I mean, I know I showed you, I've got the old neck from what's now the fretless sitting here on the desk that it was unusable, period, because of what had been done to it prior to me having it. So, I mean, I ended up cutting, I think I told you, I cut the neck off with a saw and lifted. I mean, seriously, because here, look, since I have it here, let me just show you, because I mean, this was the original neck. And, just like we always expect, and look, we got the wee lad sticking out on the side.
Here we are.
But this was where I cut it, because I asked Mike Diggins, I said, where do I cut it off? Because I want to send it back. This is completely so the guy pulled the fingerboard off, so it's just the neck, and he ruined it horribly. And so it's kind of a memento now. But I sent back the remains of it, other than the neck. I sent back the remains to Brum, and they built me a brand new neck and put the whole thing back together with the parts and bits and bobs I sent. And I mean, that's the fretless now. So,
Yeah.
not everything. So yeah,
crazy times.
Well, that's again what we were speaking about earlier about having a respray and all that. I couldn't think of a better reason to have a respray to this thing than the fact that I had to go and take the neck off.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It did every day. Well, even this other one, the one I was talking about, the screw placement for the grub screws. I mean, that started life as a cherry red Roadie 1 single pickup. Nothing. It's the 15th bass that John Diggins made. So made in 1981, and it went back obviously. So
well, it's all right now.
It is. It's cracking on too, because I mean I use it for some very specific things, and it's great. So
good stuff.
I got all kinds of stories there.
Miles on the clock.
Indeed.
I know the feeling.
Right.
The feeling.
Well,
yeah.
I had a yellow Series 3 Roadie. It was the pearl yellow that they make.
Yeah, I love that.
I got that one. Somebody had deposited a piece of copper in the top for them to put their thumb on, and it was embedded into the wood. So I just left.
Yeah, crazy.
But I got it in swap, and from a guy. He actually brought it to me when I was in Ireland for a visit and a tour, and the preamp was done. It was the original one with the long circuit board that mounted the back, as opposed to the wee little one that they use now. And I spoke with Mike Diggins, and the next thing I know, in the post about a week later, I had a brand new preamp, dropped it in. That bass was cooking.
There you go.
So I mean, I got stories, just like you do.
Of course. Of course.
Right. Now, with that said, I need to tell you this. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I have a set of Kent Armstrongs
Right.
that were made for a JD.
Okay.
They
Why?
came with, well, because I want to be kind here for just a moment. The guy who I got the bass from that I had to cut the neck off gave me these with the guitar because he had put them in it because he claimed that the pickup had gone south and he had some kind of preamp stuck in it, and it was such a mess. But he included those pickups. I said, I don't care about the preamp. I'll take the pickup, but go on. So now I've got them here, and I've got nothing to put them in. But they're
Wow.
custom wound Armstrongs just for a JD.
Hmm.
So if anybody wants to get
Interesting.
wild and wants to try something different, I have. So
You got
I had
'em.
the original. I had them rewind the original ones and put them back in the base.
Right.
So
Have you tried them?
I have not. They're
Ah.
4-wire pickups. They look like they're kind of set up like a DiMarzio where you could coil tap them and do that sort of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't. I know they work. I checked them with a meter, so they are in fact legitimate. But I haven't put them in anything because if I want that sound, I want those pickups. I don't need something else. So if I get a moment where I grab one that's kind of wonky, I may swap those out and try and see what happens.
Okay.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Well, that either way, they're going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to have a bit of poke. So
Right.
yeah.
Casually
Yeah.
ripping off the neck of a JD. Yes. Well, that's been done.
And there's the man to prove it.
Go for it. So
Some guy, good to see you. You got to be kidding me. Yeah.
Well, these things happen.
That's it. That's it. So it's coming up 10 to 5. We'll bang this on the head at top of the hour. So it's all cool. I've got a show to go to. Last minute debt came in the other day. So I thought I had the night off tonight. And I got a message from the band leader going, they need a band. Greek Street Live. For whatever reason, the band's let them down. Can we all do it? Some of us could and some couldn't. So different drummer tonight. It's going to be interesting. And a guy I don't know. I've never met him. So always like meeting a new drummer, putting them through the ringer.
And suddenly
Yeah.
Mike is
You
missing.
ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Off we go. Yes. One of those. Well, and then the other thing is it's the request show. So he
Anybody
doesn't
want to
know
have a
what the
guess where
set
he
is.
went? There you
He'll
are.
come out the other side of the ringer, probably. We will see. No, I'm
Yes.
here. I'm here.
You literally disappeared for a moment, like your screen
It's
went
my
black.
superhuman power.
I see.
No, it says here on the screen I'm still here.
Okay. Well, you were gone
Maybe
for
not.
a moment.
Oh, okay. No, so apparently we have a Depp drummer on tonight's request show. I've never met him. So I'm going to put him through, well, not intentionally. I won't be putting him through the ringer, but you know what I mean. He's going to go through the Brooks test, We'll see how he does. Yeah, it's a request show,
Yeah.
so he can't prep. He doesn't know what we're going to play. We don't know what we're going to play till we get the cards up. So, yeah.
There you go.
It's always fun.
I'll
It's
make
lively.
a card vote for Mike.
Yeah. I'd see. I don't get to see them. What happens is the cards come up. We're playing the song, and people come up and they've done their request cards, and they go in the holder at the front. And then the band leader, who's at the front playing and singing, has then, when he gets to the end of the song, he starts going through the cards. So anything with a tip instantly gets played, whether we know it or not.
Sure.
And then he'll start going through the other cards and seeing what things we definitely know, what's going to work. There's no point playing songs that are going to clear the venue. The whole point is keep people in. And then if it's something that's he kind of knows, but the rest of us don't, he'll go, do you know? And 2 or 3 of us might go, no, I ain't got a clue. And he'll go, right, it's this. And so it's D, G, A, F. and here's and all the time the drummer's listening to a recording or something online to get an idea what the drum pattern is, and off we go. And just so we'll have a cycle round, whether it's a verse, a chorus, or intro, or whatever, get us all in the mood of what we're playing, and away we go. And invariably it works. I remember 11 years ago, someone who used to write with us at the mag came here, and she was telling me about it because this was like her new gig, and I was like, that just sounds a recipe for disaster. I can't believe someone's going to pay you money to play songs that you don't know how they go. I said, how does that work? She said, they're convinced it's going to work. Well, here we are 11 years later, and it worked all right. Two venues in London doing it. And now the one I'm doing is like the offshoot of that, with the old management, but for a new company, new venue. And it works. And it works. And we keep doing it. And I'm very happy doing it. It's a bit, it can be a bit of a roast. You know, you're in the position where it's like, you know, do you know any of these songs? You might do, or you might not. I'm just lucky that I've got miles on the clock that I know a lot of songs. And if I don't know the exact bass line for a song, I kind of in my head know the tune, or I'll recognize it if I heard it. And I think your camera's frozen. Yeah, it has. That's kind of what happens. Your camera's frozen. Oh, there we go. You're back. He's back. And so yeah, it's 40 minutes of that. It does sound quite fly by the seat of your pants when you explain it to people, but actually when you're there doing it and the adrenaline's going and the audience are good and they're in with the humor and the banter, it's good. It's good fun. And before you know it, you've done 40-minute sets. It's like, have I actually played anything? I mean, sometimes it's like 18 songs maximum for the whole night. I'm like, have I actually done? Like, first set flies by, just go, and he'll go, oh right, this last song, the first set, and I haven't played anything really. I've done a little bit of Frimmerkin, but not really. And you know, Superstition, Play the Funky Music, I Wish, Money, Money, Money. We don't do a lot of the general standards that everyone does. We don't do a lot of that. We start with Pick Up the Pieces, Average White Band, do a bit of James Brown here and there. Some idiot will always pick some Taylor Swift stuff. And there'll be, so actually he's started to do a few more funk things so that we can sort of embellish the solos and the interplay, which is great. And some disco comes up, and we might do a bit of Earth, Wind and Fire, and we'll do some rock things. It's really good. It's good. I think if I'd got on board when the original thing started 11 years ago, pardon my French again, I might have shit the bed. I think I would have been just like, whoa, no way, I can't do that. To me, it just seemed like, how can you go into a thing to play to a room full of people and none of you know the songs that are going to come up? Because everyone's coming from different bands. It wasn't a regular band thing back then. And I was very intrinsic because I was booking bands into venues, and I was like, I wouldn't even begin to consider booking a band playing audience requests. That's just going one way, and disaster written all over it. It'd be like the train on the Mr. Big cover, straight through the station and out the other side. And I couldn't get my head around it. And then when I realized, as they progressed after a year or two, how they were doing it, so they all had iPads, and basically the singer would pick out the cards and say to one person, these are probably the next 4 or 5 songs, and he would call up the charts and then either zap them through to the other people, or they'd go, right, chord progression is B, A, G, F, and they would work it out. And then over time, constant weeks of doing this, they would build up this catalogue of songs and they would know them. The only thing is you have to stay on top of what the current big hits are, because that's what people will come and request. Then you'll always get some joker that pulls some avant-garde B-side out of nowhere, and my point of view with that one is, forget it, it's not happening, and there are enough other requests that we can't do it. And what I learned when we were doing Rocky Okie was, you will get 10 people want to do Valerie, and 10 people want to do Sex on Fire, and 10 people want to do Mr. Brightside. And when you start, once the thing starts rolling and people think, oh, it's good fun, I want to go and sing this, you've then got a list of requests to pick from. No one knows what order you're going to do them in, and no one can tell you what order to do them in. But if you then see there's 10 songs there that we all know how to play, but we've got 25 requests, well, you pick the 10 that you all know. Obvious, isn't it? Don't pick the songs that no one knows. What's the point of that? I can see lots of messages here. He has. He's a pit. Hello, Dave. How you doing? Hi, Mike. I would request the return of the handsome rugged man just to test the bass player. You can do that, sir, because I've asked Mr. King to do that, and he every time says no bloody chance. And I think because that bass line is 2 separate bass tracks, I don't think he can play it in one take, and I think that's why they don't do it, because I'm sure some of the band want to do it as well. That's 3 chords for the Swifty stuff. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know any Taylor Swift songs other than Shake It Off, which I played for 3 years. Dave, I want to see that too. Yeah. Patrick, sounds like a lot of our open mic jam nights. It's a similar thing. Do you know this? No. Okay, let's do it then. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. But I have to say, the guy that fronts our thing does run a good ship. It's very rare that he'll pick something that we really just don't know, and it's going to be a disaster. I think I've had 2 out of, how many have I done now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is about my 8th or 9th one, and there's only been 2 songs that we attempted that were a car crash from the bass player's perspective, and I ended up holding my hands up and said, lads, I just don't know how to play this. I don't know what the line is. I don't really know the song. I'm trying to follow what you've said to me of the chords, but I am nowhere near. So you guys clearly know the change. I'm just going to let the piano player do the bass. That's what we did. And we cut that one short. You cut, not every, it's hard for the bass player. Guitar and trumpet can drop out when they like. I'm generally playing all the time on every song.
You have to, because the bass and the drums drive the train. Simple. If you can't,
exactly that.
If you don't know the line, then either going to improvise it, and people are going to look at you like you've got 3 heads.
Also, if it's a slightly dancey tune, you don't want to stop them dancing. You got to keep them dancing.
Yep.
And this place is not big; it's quite sort of confined, so everyone's kind of together, which is great. It's a great vibe, but you don't want to lose the dance floor. And I have to say, actually, all the gigs I've done with them there, it's built every night. Like through the show, it gets busier and busier and busier. So when we get to the final set, it's absolutely heaving in there. It's great. Really good. What a good gig should be.
Right.
West Fort, you still have luck that you don't have the 80s French stuff in terms of material. Well, occasionally, like the band leader will do like an 80s medley where he does Don't You Want Me, Baby, Never Gonna Give You Up, Rick Astley, what's
Rick
another couple of
Rick
songs
Roll.
in. Yeah, he did actually chucked a more modern song that fitted the same chord progression and then goes back to Human League at the end. Anyway, all works and people seem to love it. And every time I've done it with this band, it's always been a Saturday, although I'll be there next Friday, actually. We have a great time. It's really good fun. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. And I remember the first time he asked me, I thought, let's see. I still have the same reservations that I had 11 years ago when I first heard about this sort of thing. But now I've done a bunch of them. In fact, funnily enough, Piano Works, which is the original thing, there was a guy meant to be playing bass on that this afternoon between 1:15 and 4:30, and he depped it out. And had I not had the live chat today and I'd seen the message earlier, I might have gone and done it and then gone to my other gig. I might have plucked up the courage to go and have a go at it. But I think their ship is a slightly different thing because also the band has, I think some of the band has changed from what it was originally. So I don't know what the vibe or the clique is. So, yeah. Patrick, it's worse when people want you to play on their own tunes. Oh, dear. Yeah, that wouldn't be.
Oh, boy.
I don't, that's why I don't do jam nights. John Cooper, gents, have got to go. That's okay. Thanks for your advice on the jazz. Do your due diligence, John. I'll let you know what happens. Look forward to it. We'll be back on Tuesday. Westfort, the 80s French stuff, that is how to say. Do you mean 80s pop? Is that what you are implying there? Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe you're talking about Euro pop, which was a lot of keyboardy synth stuff and not a lot of...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That didn't sort of feature too heavily in the charts here. I was about to say thank goodness, but each to their own.
Here either.
I did hear some Euro pop on the radio yesterday, and which was mid-80s holiday, summer holiday sort of things you'd hear, and then they'd suddenly become, it would be like wildfire, and it'd do well in Spain, do well in Italy, do well in France, and then come to the UK late summer. That used to happen almost every year, so there'd be one or two of those. But don't get a lot of that. Okay, it's just gone 5 o'clock here. I'm going to wrap today up. Pleasure to see you, young man. I'll speak to you in the week.
Cheers, man.
Hopefully see you Tuesday. We'll be here from 8 o'clock UK time. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Sorry it's the last Saturday, but you're going to get 2 bites of it now. So Tuesday night, 1st of April, in 3 days' time, we'll be here from 8 o'clock. Next Saturday, at the moment, I've got a Saturday off, so we might do an impromptu, we might do another one of these. How about that? But we will do, obviously, every Tuesday. I've booked them in through till the end of June. We'll carry on through the summer as well, if people want it. And we will be back on the Tuesday, and we'll do an impromptu on a Saturday whenever I can. So thank you, everyone who's attended all the Saturdays since the start of the year. It's been a funny couple of months. Not quite what we were expecting at the turn of the year, but there we are. Thank you to all new subscribers. Thank you to everyone for liking, commenting, sharing videos, this live chat, all the videos on the channel. Thank you to new viewers, and we will see you on Tuesday. I'll speak to you in the week. Take it easy. Have a good week. And I'll see you on Tuesday from 8 p.m. here in the UK. Come and join us. It's kind of like this. It might change. I've got some ideas to throw into the melting pot. We'll see how we go. So have a great Saturday. If you're off out gigging, enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Drive safely. Have a great weekend. And I will see you on Tuesday. There'll be some shorts up. There's another short up tomorrow. Long form on Monday. And I'm going to try and get these gig vlogs out to you as well. Jerry Blay, you've just come on as we're ending the live chat. So sorry about that. But you can watch it on catch up, of course. And we're back here on Tuesday from 8 o'clock. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go and have some dinner. And then I'm out the door to do this request show. Hopefully Nathan East will turn up. If you're watching, Nathan, you know where we are. I'll speak to you soon. See you on Tuesday. Take it easy. Have a great weekend.